Agents, you have 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Second, 2 out, Palmero over the head of Jenks. Uribe charges, throws, out! And the White Sox have won the World Series. Open, Chicago with the lead. Chicago Bulls have won their 6th NBA championship.
Under it, and to the middle with the 15, to the 20, breaks free of the 25, to the 30, to the outside, 40, midfield, 40, 30 to the coast, 20, 15, Hester 5. Touchdown Bears!
Time in 6 seasons, it's one goal achieved. The Chicago Blackhawks win the Stanley Cup.
A little bouncer slowly toward Bryant. He will glove it toward Rizzo. It's in time, and the Chicago Cubs win the World Series.
What up, what up, what up? Welcome to Shawn and Maya in the morning on this House Music Monday edition. I'm your boy, the SuperBack, Shawn Sierra. Thanks for tuning in. If you're watching us on Facebook Live, well, then I guess you found us on Facebook. And if you're not watching us on Facebook for real, listen, go to Facebook, type in Sports Zone Chicago, click the like button, and now you're following Sports Zone Chicago. Simple, right? Yes, it is. But wait, there's more. While you're on Facebook, do us a favor. Go to Shawn and Maya in the morning. Go to Shawn and Maya in the morning's Facebook page as well. Like that page as well. Okay, just click the like button, and now you're following the show's page along with Sports Zone Chicago. If you're watching us on our YouTube channel, excellent. If you're not subscribed to our YouTube channel for real, listen, go to YouTube, type in Sports Zone Chicago, click the subscribe button, but also click the notification button. That's the bell that's right next to it, okay? That'll let you know anytime a show from Sports Zone Chicago is going live. Get it? Got it? Good. If you're watching us on our mobile app, I like that kind of party, baby. Listen, if you didn't know, now you know. How did you not know we had a mobile app? What'd you probably miss? What's wrong with you, man? What's wrong with you, man? We have our own mobile app. Come on, man. Listen, wherever you get your apps from, okay? Whether it's iTunes, Google Play, Amazon, Walmart, Kmart, 7-Eleven, Zayre, Zemsky, Macy's, Venture, Montgomery Ward, Woolworth, wherever you get them from. All right, you go there, you type in Sports Zone Chicago, you download it. You take us with you on the go. Not only do you get Shawn and Maya in the morning 3 days a week, not only do you get our other live shows throughout the week, not only are they archived there like they are on Facebook and YouTube, but I'll tell you what, we give you a slew, and I mean a slew of articles, thanks to my man Clarence Council III. Big up to Clarence for keeping you abreast of all articles Chicago sports related. Yeah. And listen, if you're watching us on our mobile app, I like that kind of party, baby. You didn't know? I'm sorry. If you watch this on a Roku channel, what? You didn't know? Sports Zone Chicago, we have our own Roku channel. Yes, we do, doctor. So if you have a Roku device in the house, all right, any Roku TVs in the house, do us a favor, download the tile. Download Sports Zone Chicago's tile. Put it smack dab in the middle, right there. All right, you're watching Power, Book 2, Season 3. Tariq, Mary J., Method Man. There's some surprises. I don't know if you saw they leaked episode 10, the season finale. I don't know if you saw that, but I did. Oh, it's crazy. You've downloaded Paramount Plus because you're watching Yellowstone. You downloaded Showtime because you're about to watch Billions again because Axe is back, baby. You're fired up about it, just like I am. So do me a favor, download the Sports Zone Chicago's tile, put it right there between Prime, HBO, HBO Max. All right, just do it. Do us that solid. We greatly, greatly appreciate it. Now, you can also tweet the show. You can tweet us at Sports Zone Shy, that's CHI, at Sports Zone Shy. Now, if you want to follow me, just me, personally online, you want to know what I did? Well, let me tell you what I did. You want to know what I did? Here's what I did. I made it nice and easy for you folks. Nice and easy. One handle for Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, the Snapper, and TikTok. All one handle at the Shawn Sierra. If you want to follow my lovely co-host, Maya Akai, you can follow her on Facebook and Twitter at the Sports Chica. And if you want to follow her on Instagram, because you're an IGer, and just follow her at Maya_Akai. It's MAYA_AKAI. Listen, we have a phenomenal show. Ay, Dios mío, dame fuerza. Dame fuerza. Tu madre. Sorry. Yeah. We have a phenomenal show, but we need you to get interactive with us today. So whatever platform you're watching us on, whether it's Facebook, whether it's YouTube, whether it's our mobile app, All right, leave a question or comment on there. It'll come up here, and we'll put it up here. And guess what? We'll incorporate it into the show, and that's what makes this Chicago's best morning Chicago sports talk show around. Okay, is your participation, your questions, your comments, your smart-ass remarks, bring them all. We want all that smoke. All right? Now listen. When I say we have a phenomenal show, I am not bull jiving. Well, listen. Let's see who we got in the chat so far. My man checked in early today, Armando Emeterio Lara Jr. He's in the house. And if he's in the house, that means Patty's in the house, and she is. And if that's the case, then you know my man Armando Emeterio Lara the fourth and Jeremiah are with them. Those are his two grandsons. Guys, good morning. Thanks for tuning in. My man Cornelius Squalls, what up? Yes. OTA start today. Yes, they do. Dr. Levette Lee, she's in the house. Good morning, Ma. Thanks for tuning in. Michelle Walls in the house. Good morning, baby. It is a House Music Monday. That's what I'm talking about. Listen, when I say we have a phenomenal show, I'm not bull jiving. We have not only do we have a phenomenal show, we have a full show. Full. Man, 10 o'clock, Josh Friedman coming on talking baseball with us. Seems like teams are going in a different direction right about now. Things are, I don't know if they're course correcting or what's going on, but things are the path our teams are taking are starting to be different than the way they started the season. So we're going to talk to Josh Friedman about that. Then at 10:30, my man Shawn Davis, he's going to come on. He's going to talk a little NBA playoffs, baby. There could be something that's historic. There's something that is on the move that could be historic with these finals. All right, the Miami Heat are up 3-0. Okay, over the Boston Celtics. The Denver Nuggets are up 3-0 over the Los Angeles Lakers. We're going to talk about that with my man, Shawn Davis. And then at 11 o'clock, our girl, Beth Mishler Elmore. Remember, she's from the Bear Down Report. She covers the Bears for the Bear Report. Did I say Bear Down? I did. For the BearReport.com. And we're going to talk about OTA starting today. And I'm excited. I am fired up. We got a full house, damn near a full house today, and I like it. I like it a lot. Let's do it, baby. Let's do it. That's what I'm talking about. Man, listen, it's a good one, baby. It is a good one. See, who else? Yeah. Junior's fired up. He's like, OTAs. That's what I'm talking about. Levette Lee, I love it. Happy House Music Monday. Patty Lara's in the house. Shawn Wall's in the house. Cornelius Squalls in the house. Man, woo, Charlie. Yes, it is going to be. Listen, I'm fired up. I'm telling you, I am really, really fired up about today's show because I get to talk to you guys. I get to talk sports a lot. We got baseball, Cubs, Sox. We got basketball, the NBA playoffs. Whoo, Charlie. We got basketball, the sky. I'm liking it so far. So far, okay. We got football OTA start today. Man, we have a lot to talk about. Whoo-wee. So let's get right to it, baby. Let's do it. Guys, you know how we do. The first segment of every show is called Top of the Morning.
It won't come just when you want it.
Top of the morning to you. Top of the morning to you. Top of the morning to you.
Oh, Charlie, I missed that one. Oh, I missed that one. Listen, first, top of the morning topics. Let me look at let me check it out. No, we're not doing that. The White Sox, the good guys, baby. That's what I'm talking about. Yay. Listen, you know I'm a Sox fan. All right. The good guys yesterday. Yes. With a big victory, beat the Kansas City Royals 5-2. Not only did they beat them, they swept them. Lance Lynn, he was on the bump. Oh, what the mother. He was on the bump. He got the win, 3-5 for the season, 6 innings, 4 hits, 2 earned runs, 2 walks, 6 punch outs. My man, Lewis Robert Jr. He was 1 for 3 with a homer, his 13th of the year, driving in his 29th RBI of the season. Andrew Benintendi, he was 1 for 3 with 2 RBIs, his 11th and 12th of the year. I know my Cub fans do that. And Roman Gonzalez was 3 for 3 with a triple, his 2nd of the year, driving in his 3rd and 4th runs of the season. The White Sox swept the Kansas City Royals. And listen, Linda, listen. Okay? People are already talking smack, saying, "Oh, it was only the Royals, the last place team, blah, 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 blah." 2 things. 1, the Royals took the 4 from us in Kansas City. That's for starters. So that was payback. But 2, there's no other team we could have played this past weekend. Okay, so you can shut your pie hole. Okay, everyone say, "Well, it's only doing some." Okay, well, we'll wait. Okay, we'll wait till the end of the month when we get the Yankees, we get some other teams, and we see if we could take 2 out of 3 or sweep. All right, but it's funny when people are just degrading or making fun of us because of the fact that it's only the Royals. It's all who's on our schedule. That's all who was on our schedule. So we couldn't play anybody else. So sorry. And let me tell you something. Joe Kelly comes in yesterday. Joe Kelly has been having a hell of a season. Look at this. His last 9 2/3 innings, his last 9 appearances. No runs, 1 hit. He's given up 1 hit in his last 9 appearances. No walks, huge. 15 punch-outs. Okay? 15 punch-outs. That is huge. That is huge. So last year, he came in with a lot of hype last year. Okay? He came in with a lot of hype, and he definitely didn't live up to the hype because I don't know what was wrong with him last year. I have no idea what was wrong with him last year, but he was not effective at all. And what happened this year, this offseason, what happened, I have no idea, but keep doing what you're doing. Keep doing what you're doing. Because that, it's crazy. That is what he's doing now is all-star worthy. I'm not putting him in the all-star game yet. Don't get crazy. I'm just saying the way he's pitching like an all-star reliever. Okay? He's pitching like an all-star reliever. And you know what? I'll take it. And it was the White Sox first sweep. They swept their first series of the year. Oh my God. It's taken us how long to sweep? But we've been in flux. The White Sox have been basically trying to figure out who the hell they are. That's what they've been doing this entire season. Okay? I'll take that. I will definitely take that. Taking a sweep. Okay? But now we got to start sweeping more people. And again, we don't need it. Not a lot of people. But remember, I just want series. Just give me 2 out of 3. But if you win the first 2, then you got to go for the kill. You have to. You have to go for the kill. You cannot just, oh, well, we won the first 2. You can't get complacent and take your foot off the gas because you won the first 2 and you've won the series. No, when there's an opportunity to sweep the series, you sweep the series. It's that simple. And they did something yesterday that I loved. I loved what they did yesterday. All right? They bunted. They bunted. There was runners on first and second, nobody out. Now, geeks, nerds, number nerds, okay? Those metrics guys, those sabermetrics nerds, They'll tell you, no, you don't bunt because you won't waste an out. Well, yeah, you do waste an out. Okay? And you sacrifice, and you have to bunt. You have to. You got to bunt to the third baseman. And the bunt was set up, done beautifully. Bunt to the third baseman. Guys get moved over to second and to third. Okay, and then Romy Gonzalez comes up. And you have one out. So now you have two chances to get people over. It was Hanser Alberto, if I'm not mistaken, who with the bunt. Beautiful bunt. Beautiful. I mean, you talk about a picture-perfect bunt. That was it. If you're going to use that for training purposes, or I should say you could use that for training purposes. Perfectly right to the third baseman. Out of the way of the pitcher. Pitcher couldn't get it. So third baseman had to come up and field it, allowing the runners on first and second to advance. And then Romy comes up with the triple. All right, just simple. Not that we need a triple, just a base hit. But he went above and beyond. Good baseball, good fundamental baseball by the White Sox yesterday. I was very, very happy with what I saw. We're going to talk baseball with Josh Friedman this morning at 10 o'clock. But moving along. The next top of the morning topic, the Cubs. Cubs fall to the Philadelphia Phillies 2-1. Justin Steele, he started the game. He got a no decision. He went 6 innings, 4 hits, no runs, 1 walk, 6 punch-outs. Christopher Morel provided the only fireworks for the Cubs. He was 1 for 4, hitting his 8th homer of the year, driving in himself for the 14th RBI on the season. Just can't seem to get key hits. And that is going to bite you in the butt. It's people. It's what's really interesting is people are calling for David Ross's job now, and I'm like, well, that doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense to me at all because he started off the season well. Guys are performing. Guys are getting hits. And everyone's like, oh, yeah, great. And then when the guys aren't hitting, oh, David Ross sucks. Do you not? We're at this again where stupid fans, when the players aren't playing well, they blame the manager. Now, sure, the manager puts the lineups out and makes decisions about substitutions, but it comes down to you have to understand you have to perform when your number's called. When your time is up to bat, you have to perform. Period. All right, you're in the big leagues because you showed some ability to perform at one point or another. So they're struggling right now. And listen, it's the big leagues. It's not easy. And the thing about it is, how soon can you get out of your funk? How soon can you figure out what the league has done to adjust for you, and then you have to make an adjustment off of that adjustment. All right? I really like this Christopher Morel kid. I've liked him from jump. I've liked him from Jump Street. This kid plays the game with what do I say? Youthful exuberance. Just he's happy to be there. He's happy. Whatever you need me to do, coach, I'll do it. This kid is what you need. And in 11 games back, he's hit 8 home runs. Are you serious? The only problem is he doesn't have a position. He's a utility guy. He can play anywhere, infield or outfield. Hell, he might even be able to catch. Not even sure. And so, but his bat needs to be in the lineup somewhere. It needs to be in the lineup somewhere. And where you put it, I don't know. Where do you put him in on the field? I mean, you got Dansby at short. You got Nicky 2 strikes at second. Or Nico Horner. You got Ian Happ in center. Or don't forget Saya. So where do you place this guy? That's the question. Because what he's doing with the bat, you need that bat in the lineup. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. You need the bat in the lineup. He gives you a better chance to win when he's in there than when he's coming off the bench. That's for sure. So what do you do? There's a lot of thought process for David Ross. I don't know. I don't know what to do for this Cubs team. All right, you got to right the ship. All right, are you 3-7? Let me double check. I thought I saw 3-7 in your last 10 games. Yeah, 3-7 in your last 10 games. All right, definitely not a recipe for success. My good guys, the White Sox, on the other hand, they're 6-4. Okay. So they're trending upward. Now they're 6 games. They were just 7.5 games behind Minnesota. Now they gained a game. I forgot who was on the who was on the show, who the guest was. And we were talking about it. We said, listen, if you can, it was Herb Lawrence from CHGO Sports. We said, if you can gain 1 game a week, just 1 game a week, they're cooking with gas. There's a long season left. All right, there's a long season, and this is why it's imperative that you win series. It's why imperative that you go 2-1, 2-1. But if you take the first 2, you got to close out. You got to get that sweep. You got to. So, the Cubs need to start. I don't know. Hosmer wasn't the answer. I mean, I know he comes with a lot of not necessarily fanfare, but he came with a lot of accolades. He came with a nice little resume. Okay. And that didn't seem to be the answer, which is why you brought up Matt Mervis, who was just obliterating the ball down in AAA. He comes up, gets his first hit. Remember, he gets his first homer a couple of days later, bounced off the foul pole back into the field of play. So hopefully he got that ball. But after that, he really hasn't done much to help this Cubs team. Hasn't done much. So now, what do you do with him? Do you send him back down? Shatter his confidence? Or does I assume it would hurt his confidence as a big leaguer. But then how does he take it? This is where you have to understand your players. Is he the type of guy to say, you know what, sure, I'll go back down, I'll work on my swing, I'll come back up, and we'll be good to go? Or is he the kind of guy who's going to sit and sulk and get butthurt like he was the only person to ever have been sent down to AAA? Managers have to know their players. I don't know how long David Ross has been here, but I'm sure he's got a good pulse on Matt Mervis. But this is a power-hitting left-handed bat, first baseman. But we're going to talk more. We're going to talk more about both teams at the top of the hour with our guy Josh Friedman from GN Sports. And I'll ask him. I'll ask him. We missed this last week on Friday, and I'd be remiss if I didn't bring it up again, or bring it and talk about it today. Hall of Fame running back Jim Brown passed away at the age of 87. All right, Jim Brown was one of the best to ever play the game. He was way before his time. Way before his time. He was about 6'1", 225-ish. Back in the days where running backs were nowhere near 6'1", 225-ish. He was a phenomenal athlete. All right, he played 4 sports at Syracuse, where he went to college. He played football. He played lacrosse. He played basketball. He ran track. And he's if I'm not mistaken, he was an All-American lacrosse player as well. And some people argue, especially in and around Cleveland, he's the best football player to ever play. Me being from Chicago, I differ. But he's in the conversation as one of the greatest to ever play the game. Spent all 9 years with Cleveland. If you've seen the highlights, I mean, it was way before my time. I didn't see him play. Wow. I didn't see him play. Wow. However, you see the highlights, he's just running over people because he was bigger, stronger, and faster than everybody. It's that simple. Bigger, stronger, and faster. You know, it was a time where he was just a freak of nature. Literally a freak of nature at that position, at the running back position. His size, his strength, his speed was something that hadn't been seen at that position. Hadn't been seen. Then he went out. He was an activist. After he retired, he focused on helping the community, which I thought was great. He became an actor. All right. Then had a couple of run-ins with the law. And, you know, we don't like to talk about these things for our heroes, especially in our community, because they are our heroes. You know, but he did have quite a few domestic abuse arrests and charges, and you know he wasn't perfect. Okay, he was a human being like the rest of us. Okay, yeah, he was in the Dirty Dozen. He was. That's the main movie. But man, it was just to watch it. If you haven't, please do so. Go watch some of his highlights and see how much bigger, stronger, and faster he is from most guys. What's really funny is I had a running back when I was a Curie. His name's Cavante McIntyre. Big shout out to Cavante. He's a barber now. He has his own barber shop. So our first game of our prep bowl season, we played Argo, which is in Summit, 63rd and Harlem, just west of Harlem on 63rd. But you can see the fields and everything from Harlem. And Cavante was one of those dudes. He was big, strong, fast. And there was one play where he's running to the end zone, and it reminded me of Jim Brown. There was a DB who'd come up, and when Cavante broke to the outside, he kind of went with him and ran alongside of him. Now Cavante didn't even stiff arm him, nothing. He ran along Cavante for like 15, 20 yards into the end zone. Didn't even try to tackle him. And when I saw that, it brought back to memory the highlights that I had seen of Jim Brown. Cornelius, you make a great point. He was one of the greatest athletes of all time. Well, you don't play 4 sports in college if you're not a great athlete. You know what I mean? And people don't understand that. People don't understand how difficult it is to play one sport. To play one sport in college. Let me tell you, at Holy Cross, that was tough because the academic load at Holy Cross was a rigorous one. It was a rigorous. We were on par with the Ivy League schools. that is the type of academic load that we had to deal with, the athletes. So playing one sport was crazy. Playing two sports, I know my roommate played two sports. He played baseball for 2 years, 3 years, 2 or 3 years. Had to be crazy. But imagine 4 sports. And it might have been a little different at Syracuse. It might have been a little, they may have been able to kind of push you along a little bit back in the day. They would tend to do that with good athletes. But nonetheless, it's still an extremely amazing feat to play 4 sports in college. Cornelius, I agree with you. He had his faults like we all do. Okay, but he faced it like a man and made no excuses. All right, but you also have to realize that it was a different time. And it wasn't as frowned upon back then as it is now. Okay? That was part of American society. Okay? I'm not saying it was a good part of it, but it was. Well, that was a situation with many married couples was handling situations like that. But he made no excuses. And you got to respect a man like that. Well, listen, let's take a quick break. All right. On the other side of the break, we have more top of the morning topics. So don't go anywhere, folks. Keep it locked right here. Shawn and Maya in the morning on Sports Zone Chicago.
How do you take care of your mind health?
For my mental health, I meditate in the mornings.
I have my dogs. They're the best.
I just find ways that help me just relax.
Finding things that make me happy, like being close to my family.
I meditate a lot and read books.
I have hobbies outside of the game. I'm able to switch off. I'm able to turn my brain off from the game of basketball.
Your mind health matters.
Your mind health matters.
Yeah, hello. I'm really not sure if this is what you all do, but I really don't have anywhere else to turn.
Hi. I don't even know why I'm calling right now. I'm sorry. My thoughts are going a mile a minute.
My kids are out of state. My buddies from the Army are all gone now. I'm really alone.
I left the service last year. My mom just passed away a few months ago. I miss so much time with her. I keep getting calls about the bills, and I'm trying to get a job, but I feel so stuck.
Okay, ma'am. I'm glad you called.
Okay, sir. Let's stay on the line and walk through some things.
Thanks.
Okay.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Hey, it's your boy, the SuperBack, Shawn Sierra, and be sure to follow Sports Zone Chicago on all social media platforms, on Facebook, Instagram, and our Roku channel. You can find us at Sports Zone Chicago, and on Twitter, we are at Sports Zone Shy. Also, be sure to download our mobile app so you can take Sports Zone Chicago with you on the go.
On the ground to Horner near second, and that's out number 2. Big chop to third. Mastroboni to first just in time. 2 out. Outs, men at second and third for Josh Harrison. Ground ball to short. It was the fastball on the hands. Now down to their last chance. 2 down, 9th inning for Christopher Morel. The 1-0 in the air to right. Back is Castellanos. That ball is going to be gone. Opposite field, home run, Christopher Morel. The game is not over yet. His 8th of the year in only his 11th game.
Welcome back to Shawn and Maya in the morning on Sports Zone Chicago. Those clips courtesy of the Marquee Network. Cubs just couldn't get it done yesterday at Citizens Bank Park. Fall 2-1 to the Philadelphia Phillies. Lose the series 2-1. But you know, we got to figure it out. Cubs have to figure it out. What are they going to do? All right. What are they going to do? All right. You're going to point fingers. You're going to how's it going to turn? All right. This is what makes good teams, because everybody goes through a slump. It doesn't matter. I don't care if you end up with 100 wins or 50 wins. Everyone goes through a slump. They go through, and remember I said last week, this might be the slump that they're going through. This might be the time they got it a lot sooner than they were anticipating or hoping for. Okay. How do you come through it? The veterans are the ones that have to come through it. David Ross is going to have to pull them through it, help pull them through it. But you win by the play. You're playing the field. And who's going to be the leader to step up? There's a lot of World Series champions in there. Okay. They brought a few over. Okay. But do they feel comfortable taking that leadership role on a new team that they just arrived in? I don't know. We're going to find out. And we're going to have fun watching. Cub fans will have fun watching. Or they may have a heart attack watching you. One or the other. But anyway, the next top of the morning topic, the Sky, baby. That's what I'm talking about. The Chicago Sky with a big win yesterday over the Phoenix Mercury, 75-69. And it was Brittany Griner's first game back in Phoenix as she opened the road. They opened the season on the road, and Phoenix did. Kalia Copper, she had 15 points, 5 rebounds. Dana Evans, 13 points, 4 boards, 5 dimes. Courtney Williams, 12 points, 6 rebounds, 7 helpers in a big win. The Sky are 2-0 and now beat the Mercury. And now the Mercury, after that loss, are 0-2 to start the season. But listen, it was, regardless of how you feel about Brittany Griner and transgender athletes and things of that nature, okay, regardless of how you feel, that's not the issue I want to talk about. The issue is that her being held, all right, that person being held in Russia for 10, 11 months. Okay. There's no reason for her to have been, it was a political move. She was a political pawn. But not just her. There are other people who are being detained illegally in other countries, and we need to get those people back. The WNBA, remember, they have BG all over the place. Okay. Their support for her was unwavering. And unfortunately, it's just because she was an athlete. She's a professional athlete. But again, there are other people who are being detained, and the U.S. needs to get those people back. All right, because I don't know if I've never been held or detained. Okay, nevertheless, in a foreign country. But imagine not being able to hug your mom or your dad if they're still alive, or your wife, or your husband, or your kids. Okay, or your friends. All right, that's a big deal. That's a big deal that you're not able to do that. And it wears on you. Mentally, it's tough. I can't even fathom being locked away in a prison in a foreign country, overseas. Now, I know I have a couple people who are in a Mexican jail. And I'm not laughing because they're in a Mexican jail. I'm just saying it's not overseas, but it's pretty similar. Like they have their own rules. And American rules, American laws, our American way of thinking doesn't apply there. So it's interesting. Cornelius, you're talking about, you said, I wonder when Ross is going to find a spot for Morrell. Yeah. The thing is, you say, okay, you have to designate a spot. All right, you're in left field, you're right field, you're second base, all right. He's not playing the infield on an everyday basis. It's not. All right, you got Nicky Two Strikes. He's at third. All right, Dansby Swanson at short. Nico Horner at second. All right, Eric Hosmer, Matt Mervis, whoever you want at first. All right, so he's gonna probably have to play the outfield. Probably gonna have to play the outfield. But where do you put him? You got Sayai, you got Ian Happ. You got the guy at center fielder, Cody Bellinger. So it's unfortunate, but where are you going to put him? But see, this is a good problem to have. This is a good problem to have. When you have guys whose bat dictates them being in the lineup, you're like, oh man. Because trust me, it'd be a lot worse for Cub fans or any baseball fandom if you had guys that weren't forcing themselves in the lineup. That's the alternative. You have a whole bunch of guys who aren't forcing your hand, who aren't forcing you to make tough decisions. That is a good problem to have. And good luck with him in trying to get that together. But we'll keep it moving. The next top of the morning topic, NBA playoffs. And man, we're going to look at this in depth in the 10:30 segment. We're going to look at this in depth with my guy, Shawn Davis. He used to work for ESPN 1000, AM 1000 here in Chicago. And now he works for Notre Dame Fighting Irish. He has the host of the Lucky Lefty podcast, also recruiting, Irish recruiting as well. But the Heat yesterday destroyed. When I say destroy, I mean destroyed the Boston Celtics 128-102. I think the biggest margin was 31, 32 points, maybe even 35 at one point. Whoo, Charlie. And no, it was not Jimmy Butler. It was not Bam Adebayo. You're looking at this, you're like, oh, it's just Jimmy. Jimmy took over. Nope. It was not. It was Gabe Vincent. Gabe Vincent led the way, 29 points. He was 6 for 9 from beyond the arc. Okay, well, Jimmy Butler was second in points. Nope, not so fast, my friends. Duncan Robinson was second in points. He had 22 points. He was 5 for 7 from beyond the arc. 5 for 7 from beyond the arc. Well, Jimmy Butler was third, right? Nope. Caleb Martin. Caleb Martin had 18 points. He was 4 for 7 from beyond the arc. Jimmy Butler was fourth on the team with 16 points, 8 boards, 8 assists. When you're a superstar, and we saw that, and this is a thing that happens in the NBA oftentimes, your role players play much better at home. And that was the case. They're into 305. All right, Duncan Robinson, bench player. Caleb Martin, bench player. Gabe Vincent, the point guard, not the first or second option on the team. Bam Adebayo only had 13 points, 3 boards, 2 assists. So it's not as if... Here's where the youngsters stepped up. Here's where your role players stepped up, and this is why you got them. There was a scene yesterday in the game, and they mentioned it, and I thought of it as soon as it was happening. They showed Pat Riley. All right, they showed Pat Riley, and he's just sitting there. skin aged. Okay. Still a good looking man. Hair slicked back, but now it's all white as opposed to it was all jet black when he was back in LA. Remember those days and roaming the sidelines of the Forum in Inglewood, California. But he's sitting there, a lot more wrinkles. Just sitting there nodding his head. Didn't have a smile on his face. Didn't have a smirk. Didn't have a grin. But he's just looking at it saying, and he said it was like a proud grandpa watching his grandkids. Watching this team that he constructed, him and obviously consulting with Eric Spoelstra, that he constructed of a lot of undrafted players. Talent is talent. Okay? But mentality, a mindset, that's something different. You have to be able to say, okay, this guy didn't get drafted. Why? Is this guy, was it a numbers game? And you have to understand, and this is why I have the utmost respect for Eric Spoelstra and how this guy keeps getting disrespected and overlooked. I have no idea. When you get guys who do things, one thing or two things well, and everything else not so well, the only thing you're going to want them to do is what they do well. And Eric Spoelstra has done a phenomenal job of incorporating all these youngsters, all these undrafted players, and then he brings in a superstar because Jimmy Butler is a superstar. And they all have the same mentality. They all have the same grinding ethic, work ethic. They ain't afraid to get dirty. They ain't afraid to get physical. They're not afraid to play defense. They're not afraid to block shots. They're not afraid to close out on three-point shots. They're not afraid to dive on the floor for a loose ball. They are not afraid. And when you give guys a chance to literally just, when you ask them to do what's in their wheelhouse, they perform. They perform. The destruction of the Celtics yesterday was disgusting. 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 Yeah, you're in South Beach, but that was the biggest game for you this year, Boston. You had to win that one because no one has ever come back. No team has ever come back from a 3-0 deficit in the NBA playoffs. None. 3-1, yes. Then Denver was the first one a few years ago with Dikembe Mutombo. But no team has ever come back from an 0-3 deficit. So it was imperative that you win yesterday because you'd be going up against history. Not saying it can't be done. Not saying that at all. But what I'm saying is, in the biggest game of the year that you needed, your stars were missing. Jason Tatum, 14 points. 14 points, Jason Tatum? 6 for 18 from the field, 1 for 7 from beyond the arc. Jaylen Brown, 12 points. 6 for 17 from the field, 0 for 7. He drew the collar from beyond the arc. Can't happen. Your other starters, Tito Horford, 8 points, 1 rebound, 1 assist. Marcus Smart, 8 points, 9 rebounds, 8 assists. Yes, almost a triple-double, but you need more from him. You got Derek White, your point guard, 9 points, 4 boards, 2 assists. You got to step up, people. You got to step up. You have more guys on the bench who scored in double digits than your starting 5. All right, you had Grant Williams. He had 12. He had 12 points. You had Peyton Pritchard. He had 12 points. And you had Luke Cornett. He had 11. 3 bench guys in double digits. 2 starters in double digits for the Celtics. And it was to the point where Magic Johnson, I don't know. I'll say this in a second. Magic Johnson tweeted. And he says, In my 44 years of being associated with the NBA, I never thought I'd see a Boston Celtics team, a franchise with 17 championships, quit. I know Celtic fans all over the world must be disgusted and devastated. The Miami Heat blew them 128-102 out in Game 3. Magic went to Twitter for that. He said it. He said it. That's it. You were down 30. You were down 30. Often you were down 30. I honestly don't know. I don't know. I don't even know what to say. And people remember I had mentioned it a couple of weeks ago, but I'd mentioned it before as well, recently. I'm like, Jason Tatum is not a superstar to me. I know he had 51 points in Game 7. Okay. He's not consistent. What does that song say? Such thing as halfway crooks. You can't be a halfway superstar. You are, you're not. And he's not. Star, yes. Superstar, no. This is the biggest game of the year. Where you take this one now, Miami is shaking in their boots. Like, damn. We have to win Game 4. Otherwise, we go back to Boston, lose a home court advantage, and we play 2 out of the next 3 in Boston if necessary. But you couldn't get up for that. You couldn't get up for that. You couldn't make a point. Who's the leader on that team? Who's the guy that rallies that team? Who? Is it Jason Tatum? You rally that team, but then you put that horseshit performance that you had in a mandatory, a must-win situation? I don't see it. I haven't liked him from, and I don't mean as a bad thing. I'm not disrespecting him. I'm just saying there's something about him. I'm telling you, maybe it's me being a coach, and you can see when players are good, but they're not consistent. When they want to be something, but they're not. Listen, if you're trying to be that dude, you're not that dude. If you're trying to be that dude, you're not that dude. Think about that. Because if you're that dude, you don't think about trying to be that dude. You're just that dude. You're just that guy. Michael didn't walk out trying to be that guy, trying to be the leader. Kobe didn't walk out trying to be the leader. Magic didn't walk around trying to be the leader. LeBron doesn't walk around trying to be the leader. They just are. They are. They demand it by their play, by their practice habits. They are. So if you're trying to be that dude, you're not that dude. Simple. He's not that dude. He is a bona fide star in the NBA. He is not a superstar. And tonight, there's something that Josh Friedman about this. I'm sorry, with Shawn Davis about this. Tonight, Game 4, Nuggets at Lakers, 7:30, ESPN. History could be made tomorrow night. There's never been a sweep of both conference finals in the same year. Both the Eastern and Western Conference finals have never ended with a sweep in the same year. And we are on the verge of that this year. If Denver can close things out tonight, they will sweep the Lakers. And if Miami can close things out tomorrow, they will sweep the Celtics. Now, from a ratings perspective, you want the East Coast and the Lakers in the finals. All right, it's just money. You got to understand the politics of sports. People talk about performance instead of politics, and you know what? It sounds great, it sounds wonderful, but that's not how the real world works. Hell, if you have a real job, if you have a regular old job, you understand performance and politics don't go hand in. I mean, there's so much politics in your job, it doesn't matter about performance with some people. Yes or no? Am I lying? The guy who got the promotion because he's somebody's cousin, good friend of the family, relative. He has a bigger following. He has this, he has that. It's not always about performance. It's not. In the real world, it's not about performance. Should be, but it's not. So, can they get it done today? I don't know. We're going to find out. Because that game's tonight. ESPN. And it'll be great to have Miami and Denver close it out tonight. Denver tonight, Miami tomorrow, and have them in the finals. Now, Denver's never won a title. Miami has. They've won 3. 2 with LeBron, 1 with Wade by himself and Shaq. But what they've done, I can't wait to see this. Will the Joker get his first NBA title? And this really hits home for me because this Denver team is the one that our president of basketball operations, Arturas Karnisovas, constructed. He constructed this team in Denver. So he comes here, we're like, oh, baby, he's going to get us something good. And what happens? Look at the mess that's over on the west side. Or is it West Town now? Because, the gentrification and everything, they call that area West Town. Frustrating as Bulls fans. Because I'm waiting for our basketball team to start taking off. And they're not. We're going to talk more basketball, though, at the bottom of the hour at 10:30 with my guy, Shawn Davis. He's going to join us. We got to take a quick break right now because our guy, Josh Friedman, is on the other side. We're going to talk a little baseball. Looks like both teams are going in different directions. We'll talk about that on the other side, so don't go anywhere, folks. Keep it locked right here. Josh Friedman up next here on Shawn and Maya in the morning on Sports Zone Chicago.
Off the fake. Fields against the grain. Finds Jesse James. Field. With time. Delivers down the field. And Tom Murray. Still running. Fake one way. Fields stumbling. Trying to cut it back. Justin Fields making magic happen. There goes Fields. Touchdown.
How do you take care of your mind health?
For my mental health, I meditate in the mornings.
I have my dogs. They're the best.
I just find ways that help me just relax.
Finding things that make me happy, like being close to my family.
I meditate a lot and read books.
I have hobbies outside of the game. I'm able to switch off. I'm able to turn my brain off from the game of basketball.
Your mind health matters.
Your mind health matters.
Hey, it's your boy, the SuperBack, Shawn Sierra, and be sure to follow Sports Zone Chicago on all social media platforms, on Facebook, Instagram, and our Roku channel. You can find us at Sports Zone Chicago, and on Twitter, we are at Sports Zone Shy. Also, be sure to download our mobile app so you can take Sports Zone Chicago with you on the go.
Everybody in a work zone is someone somebody.
This is my mom. She works for KDOT.
This is my dad.
This is my mom.
This is my daddy.
This is my sister.
This is my daddy.
This is my son, Scott. He was killed while working in a highway work zone. When you drive through a work zone, drive like a life depends on it. because it does.
Exactly where he wants to.
This is Romy Gonzalez at short today, and a 1-2.
Long time before it became unhittable.
And he strikes him out. 4 now for Lang.
One strikeout into the first, but that was against Carlos Hernandez.
That one driven. Let's see if the wind will keep driving it. Gone! He just got it over that yellow line into the patio. It's 2-1.
This is a tailing fastball, and the thing was.
Welcome back to Shawn and Maya in the morning on Sports Zone Chicago. Those clips courtesy of NBC Sports Chicago. That was the good guys yesterday, breaking out the brooms for the Royals. That's what we needed to do when we were in Kansas City. But we let them take 3 out of 4 from us, and this was payback. This was retribution. And you know what? As a Sox fan, it felt good. And listen, just so you know, all right, I told you I'm done with the White Sox for a while until they start giving me something. Okay. I did go to the game Saturday to get that pullover or that zip-up jacket, which are very, very nice, by the way, and then bounced. If you follow me on Facebook, you saw it. As soon as I got it, I bounced and went to 35th Street Red Dogs, had a little something, and then I stopped and got my first fitted White Sox hat. Believe it or not, it's my very first fitted White Sox hat. I got a couple fitted other ones, but not my White Sox hat. I like what they're doing. They are slowly but surely back on the path. They haven't won me back yet. All right. They haven't won me back, but you keep doing this and I'll be back they'll be back in my good graces very, very soon. My next guest is going to sit and talk South Side, North Side with me. Man, he's a good friend of the program. He's been rocking with us for years, and looking forward to howling at him. You can find him on Twitter at Josh_Fryman. You can see him on TV damn near every night at GN Sports 10:30. Guys, just welcome back to Shawn and Maya, Josh Fryman. Josh, what's up, Papa? Good morning.
What's going on, Shawn? Happy Monday. Yeah, the White Sox, man. Once they pull you back in, you all of a sudden you can't get enough of this team, right? No, it's
telling you, it is.
I get it, man. Hey, that hat looks good.
I'm telling you, they walked in and I had a bag with me, like, oh, you have to check the bag. I'm like, no, Papa. I said, I'm not taking the bag off. I said, I just need my fitted Sox hat. That's all I need. He's like, oh, okay. So I went to Grandstand. Did the whole thing, you know what I mean? And I was happy. Just like I said, my first one. He gave me one that's a little too big, and then this one was perfect. I'm like, oh man, it just felt good. I'm like, again, I'm not going back to Sox games right just yet. They got to win a couple more because I'm just unhappy with the product that they're putting out there. I'm unhappy with the performance of some of the players. I'm unhappy with the front office. Talk to me about Pedro Grifol because this was my thing. This is why I was so frustrated. I'm still an Ozzie guy, and call me a homer, call me, whatever. But my thing is this. They needed a veteran, in my opinion, a veteran manager to deal with an underperforming veteran team. Giving a rookie manager an underperforming veteran team, in my opinion, that might be a little too much to handle. Your thoughts?
Was Tony La Russa too veteran for you then?
Yes. Way too veteran.
The extreme, yeah. Look, I'm not going to come in here and talk about whether the merits of Ozzie Guillen were the right choice. I think that would have been,
or Girardi or anybody else. You know what I mean? Someone
for a certain segment of the fan base, Ozzie has been the guy for 18 years now, right? Since the World Series, they are always going to feel like he should be the manager again, and that's fine. For Pedro, and I've been around it a little bit now. I spent some time in spring training with him. I've been out to pretty much every home stands for the White Sox, and you don't see the guy smile very often. Now, that's not an indictment on him as a manager, but he is such a hard-nosed, focused baseball person. And when I asked him in spring training, we had a one-on-one in his office, and I was like, what do you do for a hobby? How do you kind of let yourself kind of cool off after baseball? He's like, honestly, I don't have any hobbies. It's baseball and family. And I'm like, okay. And he's like, yeah, it's, I don't do anything, like I don't fish, I don't golf, I do baseball. And he is you hear the term baseball lifer thrown around a lot. He is literally a baseball lifer, a guy who didn't quite get to the major leagues as a player, went through the minors, then step by step as a coach to get to this point where he is finally a big league manager. And, he brought in his ways, his systems to spring training to, I think, change a lot of things the White Sox needed to about the culture, about how they went about their day-to-day basis of just using time better to get better and to train. Every day of spring training was regimented. He was focused on 5-day chunks, not looking ahead to a week or 2 weeks away. He does that during the regular season. We asked him, what about the next homestand? What about the next series? I'm focused on today. I asked him Friday what it would mean to win this homestand when they were 3-3 and the Royals were in town. He said, look, I'm only focused on winning a game tonight. And it's cliche, and he says that a lot, but I think he really is trying to be as narrow-focused as possible. Now, as far as the problems the White Sox have had and how much that is on Pedro Grifol, I think if you were to put this into a pie, I would say the smallest sliver of that pie is Pedro Grifol versus the players, the front office, ownership, and maybe even the rest of the coaching staff. I think Pedro is doing what he can to assess day to day what is ailing this club and trying to fix it. And I think so far we're trying to see that as well. And he's kept a positive mindset the entire time. He has said, look, we're not happy that we're losing these series, that we're losing games. No one's happy about it, but we're trying to get better. We're trying to learn from it. And I respect that. And he's not trying to sugarcoat it either. And look, we've seen the White Sox bounce back. Of course, the Royals are an ailment to a lot of struggling teams. They weren't a week ago, right? They didn't do that.
Definitely not.
City. So to turn around and to say, we lost 3 or 4 in Kansas City, we're going to sweep your butts at home, that's progress. And to beat a Cleveland team that is not the same as last year, that's progress. We'll see what they do on the road as well. So to me, Pedro has plenty of time to figure out more of his managerial style, and you can dissect any manager's game by game, inning by inning decisions, right? They're not always going to work out, but I do feel like overall these problems for the White Sox this season have not all been on the new manager's shoulders.
Oh no, definitely not. No, because it comes down to the players, right? It comes down to the players because if Alberto yesterday with the bunt, okay, the third base, that's not Pedro. Pedro probably made the call, okay, but you have to execute the bunt. All right. So no, I definitely didn't think it was all on him. I was just wondering if this team was too much for him because of the fact that they're underperforming. You got a whole bunch of guys in this team these guys, in my opinion, there should be 4 or 5 guys who should get MVP votes every year if they lived up to their potential.
I'll give you a counter, Shawn, too, real quick, just about why maybe he is the best fit for this team. And yes, youth and experience at the managerial level being the one blemish. I thought the White Sox going into the offseason when they were going to make a change, I thought they should, and they did pursue a manager who was Latin, someone who can relate to the Latin players on this team, because this team is built differently than a lot of other squads. I think the Rays are the other real example of a team that has their best players being Latin, meaning they are Spanish-speaking first.
People, yeah.
And that is important for the White Sox because you need someone to relate to Luis Robert day to day. You need someone to get the best out of Yohan Moncada. And those 2 players are having their best seasons right now. Yeah. Okay. And Luis, just another manager decided to bench Luis 3 weeks ago when he decides not to run down the baseline. I don't know, maybe, but I think for Pedro Grifol, a month into his tenure, to say, no, that's not the way the White Sox are going to play, and to bench the best player on your team, and then for him to, I think, learn from it in a positive way, because the last 3 weeks, Luis Robert has been the best player in baseball. So to me, that's someone that is relating to his players, knowing how to push the right buttons, and getting the best out of them.
Yeah, I liked it too, and I like Pedro Grifol. I'm not saying he's a horrible manager by any stretch, and I just question, like, okay, is this? I didn't think that might have been the best move because everything he had said in spring training, I liked. He talked about hustle. He talked about we're kicking your butt. Okay, I liked it. Then we struggled a little coming out of the gates. We split with Houston. So like, okay, I'm happy with that. And then we go on to lose the next 6 series. Yeah, that was frustrating. Again, the majority of it, in my opinion, falls on the players. All right, because you have to perform. You can call whatever you want to call, but if it's not executed, but my thing was just wondering how much juice he has in the locker room, how much respect he has in the locker room because he's a rookie manager. If it turns around, hey, it could be just like Ozzie back in 2004. Okay, right. It really could. But the reason I was questioning it because this is a big year, Josh. I mean, people already started to talk about maybe we should start breaking this up. Everybody who has their contract is not living up to their contract. The only one who's kind of living up to his contract, I would say, is Tim Anderson. Okay, but Lou Bob before the season had not been living up to it. He'd been hurt. Yo-Yo definitely not living up to his contract. Eloy not living up to his contract. So I was, at some point you're going to have to, crap or get off the pot. And if you have these guys with contracts who aren't performing, you're going to have to move them. And that's why I thought this was a pivotal year, because I believe you wasted the last 2 years with Tony at the helm. And I think this was just the year that we had to figure it out. I would have been more comfortable with an established manager, but it doesn't mean Grafal can't be that manager. I would have been more comfortable. Like I said, you said it yourself. He's got time. They're starting to turn around, and they may do. And if they do, hey, you'll see me at the ballpark a lot more often, spending my money on, $7, $10, $12 beers.
Yeah, more than that, right? Yeah, depending on the day you go.
Let's talk about the North Side, though. The North Side, they started good, and now people are calling for David Ross's job. I'm a big David Ross fan. I'm not a Cub fan by any stretch, but I'm a baseball guy. I understand baseball, and I like his managerial style. Talk to me about what's going on the North Side.
I looked this up today. So there's 14 teams in baseball, basically half the league, that have under 500 records now. There's only 3 of those teams that have a positive run differential. The Cubs are the highest of those teams, plus 21 in run differential. Now, what that tells me is that this is not a team that is the 7th worst record, 7th worst team in baseball, which they suddenly are after this 2-7 road trip, right? I think they were overachieving in the first month. Now they're underachieving their peripherals and their stats. And so I think you combine the two, and they're probably still around a 500 club. So that's kind of what I projected them in the beginning of the season. I thought the 77, 78 wins that they were projected by, all the fan graphs and Baseball Prospectus, projections, I thought those were a little low. I thought they would be around an 81, 82, 83 win team. And if things broke right, maybe have a chance to compete for the postseason in a weak division if they get a couple wins on the margins. And that, to me, is what this team was not built to withstand. They don't have a great bullpen. They have a good pitching staff, but not a couple aces at the top, though they have some guys like Justin Steele who maybe are starting to become an ace. And Marcus Stroman, aside from a couple starts, has looked really good. And the hitting, to me, was questionable coming in because you had guys who were either unproven or bounce back candidates like Trey Mancini or Eric Hosmer, who's already off the team, or Dansby Swanson, who signs this huge mega deal, but that's because he's an all-encompassing leader, defensive player, base runner. The hitting has been good over the last couple of years, but are you buying a player at his peak in terms of the home runs and the batting stats? And so I was a little skeptical on the offense, and all of a sudden they're the best offensive team in the National League in the first month, and you're like, wow, this is, and without Seiya Suzuki for much of it. And so you're like, well, maybe everybody was wrong about the hitting. Well, that's kind of come and regressed to the mean. And so the Cubs overall are a team that I don't feel like is built to withstand those close games because they're just not going to outslug a lot of teams day by day. And when you're in a lot of close games, and Jed Hoyer said this, there's a lot of randomness in that too. And when you play a lot of games in baseball, when they're random and it comes down to a couple breaks here and there, that could easily fall against you. And that's happened here more recently. And all of a sudden the Cubs find themselves in a huge slump. And when you play 3 really good teams on the road, you're probably going to come out of it looking pretty beat up. And that's what the Cubs are doing right now after playing Minnesota, Houston, and Philly. And so do I think people are calling for David Ross's job and people are freaking out? Are they wrong? I think it's again, it's like the White Sox. You can't judge everything just about a short sample size. Too. Right. Were people praising David Ross when this team started out better than everybody thought? All of a sudden, are those people, wallowing on souring on him just because of this recent losing streak? So, it's tough because, like I said, this team I think is performing better than their record says it is. But there's clearly some deficiencies around a club that I think, again, looking at the talent-wise, is probably more 500 than anything else.
Guys, we're joined by Josh Friedman from GN Sports, talking Cubs and Sox baseball right here on Shawn and Maya in the morning on Sports Zone Chicago. I'm always been a fan of Rossi, big fan of his. I liked him as a player, respected him. When he came over to the Cubs, he was that backbone, You know, he was that backbone, and you'll never forget when they were mic'd up and him and Rizzo are talking. He's like, I'm going through some kind of thing of emotions or a whirlwind of emotions, and he was that calming force, and that's why I figured he would be a good manager, and I'm sticking to it. I still think he's going to get the best out of this team, and they're going to start performing. Talk to me about Cody Bellinger. This guy, I saw a lot of highlights of him in Arizona right before spring training. He'd been injured and he was working on his swing, and this guy has a nice little resume to start his career with a Rookie of the Year, Gold Glove, World Series title, not too shabby. And not that I'm a swing expert or anything, but watching his swing and batting practice, I'm like, that's starting to look really similar. He's starting to look really comfortable. And I said, watch out for this guy in the regular season. Talk to me about how huge, how big and how huge Bellinger has been for the beginning of the season for the Cubs. And not just for the Cubs, but for him, because every time he rakes, he's getting more and more zeros in the back of his next contract.
Yeah, his agent Scott Boras said, look, he wanted this bridge deal to reestablish his market value, and he's doing that right now. And we talked about the Cubs' struggles. Cody Bellinger not playing most of that road trip really hurt them, right? Mm-hmm. He's on the injured list. Had that great catch in Houston, suffered the knee injury. Hopefully, again, he'll come back sooner rather than later. But they missed Nico Horner at the beginning of the road trip. Then they missed Cody Bellinger in the back half of it. And those have been your two best players offensively, right? So, aside from Christopher Morel, who we can get into that all day about why he wasn't on this club until May 7th. And he is the reincarnation of Babe Ruth all of a sudden.
Yeah. I mean, don't you ever send me down again.
and look, maybe we can always say, hey, maybe if he was up in the beginning of the season, this never happens because he needed those reps in Iowa. Whatever. It's revisionist history, but man, they could have used his presence on this team from day one. And he was really good last year. He did tail off toward the end in September, and so I feel like the Cubs did want to see a little bit more out of him.
And what do you do with him though? Where do you put him though? Because he's so versatile, and when you get everybody back, I mean, everyone's got positions pretty much on lock, infield, outfield. Where do you play this kid? Because I was saying earlier in the show, that's a good problem to have when someone is forcing your hand to get them in the lineup. That is a great problem to have as a manager.
Oh, absolutely. Look, it's a problem the White Sox are going to have when Eloy comes back because Jake Berger has been incredible. And
Smash Burger, you're damn right.
You got to figure out exactly. You got to figure out what to do with the DH spot. You don't want to move Moncada off third base because he's a tremendous defensive player, and Berger at second base, I don't think you feel great about either. No. So, if you figure out, these are always good problems to have because eventually they'll work themselves out because someone either gets hurt or banged up for a few days. These things play themselves out. So for the Cubs, wherever you put Christopher Morel, he's got to be in the offensive line. He's got to be in the lineup, no matter what. And especially when Bellinger is sidelined, and they tried him in left field, and that was, he misplayed a few balls in that Houston series that probably cost them a game, which was unfortunate because of what he's doing at the plate. But he's naturally an infielder. He's trying to learn. He's trying to be that Swiss Army knife, which kudos to him, right? Saying, Rossi, wherever you want to put me, I will go play left field. I'll go play center field. I'll play third base. I'll play second base. To me, I'm kind of done with the Nick Madrigal stuff. He's a nice kid, but third overall pick, a guy who's hitting 250, who when he swings his hardest, the ball's flying 300 feet, maybe max. Like he brings zero slug to the game. And if you're not hitting 320 or above when you bring zero slug, you're just not a player that is adding any value to the roster. And so the Cubs already cut bait with Eric Hosmer, which to me tells me that Jed Hoyer is done messing around with some of these things. He added a veteran that was one of the first veterans they added. That was before Eric Hosmer, before Trey Mancini was brought into this team. Might have been before they signed Bellinger. I'm not positive about that. But either way, he's not committed to these sunk costs. And again, they're not even paying Hosmer's. The majority of that money is still being paid by San Diego. So I would hope that if the continued struggles of Nick Madrigal progress here, that the same thing happens where he's not utilized either at all, or maybe he is demoted to AAA or just cut, DFA'd altogether. Because with Morel swinging the way he is, you need to find a way to get him in the lineup. And Patrick Wisdom, for as good as he started, has also kind of regressed as well. And so maybe it's Wisdom that's the odd man out in terms of the everyday lineup when things are healthy. But yeah, Bellinger, to your original point, he He seems just much more comfortable, like you mentioned. I talked to him in spring training. He said this offseason he focused on different kind of Pilates and, things to kind of get his body back in shape because, yes, he's struggled over the last few years since that 2019 MVP, but he has not been healthy either. He was pretty good in 2020, that shortened season, until he hurt his shoulder in a celebration in the NLCS. It was a fluky play, and he has not been right since then. And so I think the shoulder feels good. He's more comfortable at the play, and he knows he's on a 1-year prove-it deal. And sometimes that gets the best out of guys. Sometimes that really, sparks a dude to be like, all right, I got this year to prove that I'm $100+ million guy. And right now, Bellinger is doing that. And the fascinating question that could lead to, Shawn, is do the Cubs try to extend him? Do they try to re-sign him? Or do you let him go? Because you have a pipeline of outfielders in the minor leagues. And there's a guy named Shohei Ohtani that's coming through that every team would love to pay. I don't think the Cubs are going to do it, but do you even try to be in that sweepstakes and have that money there to say, all right, Shohei, we'll pay you $500 million to come be a two-way player for the Chicago Cubs?
Yeah, that's a great point. Because if he continues to rake him, continue to do what he's doing, do they push him at the deadline to get some to a team that's trying to get a legitimate playoff contender? There's a lot of different possibilities and options for the Cubs, and I like Bellinger. I liked him when he was with the Dodgers, and I had a feeling just watching him, like he seems like a winner. All right, he seems like a guy who's just adamant about winning. And when I saw him swinging, I'm like, this dude's going to have a pretty good year up on the north side. And man, he is. Any word on when he's coming back? I don't know. That was that it was a kind of a freak thing, because I didn't really see like a twist or anything when he and that catch and that play in Houston. It just came down wrong on it, I guess.
I think his foot got caught on the wall when he went up, and then he just kind of landed awkwardly on the knee. And they called it a knee contusion, basically a bruise, which I thought was a little weird, because a bruise, you would think the knee maybe slammed into the wall versus maybe, he tweaked something. But a contusion usually does not last more than a couple weeks to get that right. So the hope is, and again, they've been on the road, so I haven't been able to talk to David Ross firsthand or the Cubs about this, but they're coming back. I'll be at the ballpark tomorrow. Hopefully we get an update on Bellinger, and hopefully it's at the minimum of that 10-day stint. Nico Horner, the day after he got hurt, David Ross said he could be available that night. He said, there's a world where Nico plays tonight, and people are like, oh, it's kind of interesting. And then 2 days later, he was put on the injured list. So sometimes what they're feeding you is not exactly accurate, right? And sometimes they're just trying to spin things the most positive way. Now Nico came back in the minimum, and maybe they just felt like, look, if he's going to be out 7 days, let's just put him on the 10-day, get an extra guy on the roster. Sometimes that happens too. So we'll find out more about Bellinger tomorrow, but I would be surprised if he's a guy that has to do any type of AAA rehab assignments, and if he's not going to be back maybe toward the end of this homestand. So when they all get back, do you see the Cubs kind of getting back on their winning ways? Because you mentioned both of the two best players were out with injury. Now when they get back, you got other guys, have had to kind of steady the ship, so to speak. Since they've been gone, you expect them to kind of turn that ship around and get back to their winning ways. Maybe not on a 6, 8, 10-game winning streak, but at least start playing much better baseball once they're fully loaded. Yeah, look, this is a big homestand for them. They got 9 games, including the Mets and the Rays. And the Mets have been playing really good baseball, but you miss Verlander and Scherzer. So you do need to take advantage of that series and be able to hopefully win 2 of 3 against a team actually the Cubs have played well against over the last few years. So Smiley, Stroman, and then Jameson Taillon, who again has really not panned out. It's been frustrating to watch a guy who they gave $64 or $68 million to this offseason. And we were told he would be slotted right next to Stroman initially as that kind of 1A, 1B as far as veterans at the top of the rotation, and then see what happens with Justin Steele. And who would have thought that Drew Smiley, who was good last year under the radar, and the Cubs brought back, I thought, again, under the radar, would be probably their most consistent pitcher this year. He's been tremendous. And so, Taillon needs to figure things out quickly. Lefties are just crushing him right now, which traditionally has not been the case. He doesn't feel as confident with his 4-seam fastball. So he's got to figure things out. But after the Mets come to town, you get the Reds at home. You need to win that series because, to me, if you're 4-2 after the first 2 series, then Tampa comes here, you're almost playing with house money, because even if you lose 2 of 3 there, even if you get swept, you still have a 4-5 homestand, which isn't great, but it doesn't bury you.
It's not catastrophic. Yeah.
Yeah. So to me, if they go into the Tampa series 3-3 or even 2-4, that's asking for trouble here. So the next week is really huge for the Cubs to get back home after this long road trip, day off today, kind of reset. And then the other guy coming back is Kyle Hendricks. He's pitched now several times for AAA. Last few outings we've seen progress from him. 14 strikeouts to just 2 walks. Pitched 5 solid innings. I think 80 some pitches on Saturday, meaning he's starting to get worked up to and stretched out to the possibility where he is ready to go. Because I think the Cubs were really cautious with his rehab assignment, because 1, he hasn't pitched in the big leagues in almost a year, and 2, you don't want to throw a guy in and have him only be ready for 65 pitches, because then that stretches your bullpen thin if he can only go 3-4 innings. And so they want him to be ready to go at least 5 innings. And Kyle Hendricks is a big wild card for this team, because let's face it, Shawn, he has not been the Kyle Hendricks of 2015 through 2018 form, right? He has not been that guy who's going to give you a 3.3 ERA, not going to walk batters, who's going to keep you in games, pitch deep into the count, deep into the game. He has been a below average starter the last couple of years. So what Kyle Hendricks are you going to get now that he has had a year to rehab this shoulder, decided not to have surgery with it? He sounded confident when we talked to him at Cubs convention, when we talked to him at spring training. So is he cooked, or can you get some still, maybe not vintage Kyle Hendricks years, but still
value,
on the bone, right? For Kyle to come back and be a contributor to this starting rotation. Because all of a sudden, if that happens, then you're 4 deep again. Hopefully it gives Tyone a chance to get things right. And I still believe in Hayden Wesneski, who I know was sent down to AAA. That was probably going to happen anyway with Kyle coming back. But I still believe, he could be a vital part of this team going forward. So,
guys, he's Josh Fryman. Man, great stuff as always, buddy. I appreciate the time. But do me a favor, let everyone know where they can find you and your work online and see you on TV.
Yeah, always appreciate the invites. Thank you, Shawn. Twitter is Josh_Friedman. No blue check mark, but that's, I think, a good thing now, right? But it is my account. And then I'm on WGN 5 nights a week, GN Sports, which is our nightly show, 7 nights a week on WGN, as you mentioned, 10:30 each night. Check it out. We got a lot of good baseball discussion. Bulls, Blackhawks, Bears, of course. I'll be at OTAs tomorrow as well as that gets going. So a lot of things to, even though it's not the best time in Chicago sports history, there's still some fun storylines, as you know, always things worth talking about.
There really are, and I'm really looking forward to the Bears season, just because of. Real quick before I let you go, how are you looking forward to? Are you looking forward to it with the new additions, with the draft picks, with the trade, and DJ Moore?
Man.
How fired up? Because every time I get fired up, the hair on my arms stands up because I get so excited talking about the potential for this team, and it just excites me, because the way that they're building this franchise, this organization, is the right way. It's something that we're not really used to. A GM who says what he's going to do and literally follows through and tells you about it. And I think it's a great thing.
Oh, he's so transparent, which I love about Ryan Poles. And, we like that as media members, but we like it, I think, as fans too. You can really see the process. You're not guessing, which I thought a lot of Ryan Pace, not to, again, compare the two, but Ryan Pace was so opaque, and he would be, trying to trick even his own head coach about who he was picking in the draft. And it was like, dude, just, you don't have to be, so
secret squirrel about
secretive.
It.
Yeah, exactly. And so anyway, I love the way that Ryan Poles, like you said, is not only building this team, but the culture he's instilling and the things that he is doing. And there's not a lot of teams that come off a 3-win season where you're so hyped in the offseason without them playing another game, where you truly believe they can take that leap. I don't think they're at a playoff point yet. But again, if Justin Fields, if he is the dude, if all these acquisitions to the offense, bolstering the O-line, giving him DJ Moore, giving a couple good running backs, if all of a sudden that's all he needed for it to click in one more year in the system, then they could take a leap to being maybe a 9-10 win team with the schedule they have. But I'm not currently projecting that. I don't want to put that on Justin's shoulders right now. I just want to see him get better as a passer, make the right reads, make the right decisions to prove to the Bears and their fan base that he is a franchise quarterback. So it's a lot on his shoulders right now for sure. It is the prove it season for quarterback 1, but I think a lot of Bears fans are actually really excited for what they can see offensively. And the defense made some nice moves too, but I think really offensively is where the focus has been.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think because it's a big year for him financially, because they got to decide after this year, whether or not they want to extend or pick up his 5th year, or if they're just going to extend him right there. Yeah, it's a big thing, but I'm confident in this kid and in his makeup, and that he's going to show out, man. That's why I was so excited about DJ Moore. They've been working together since they signed him, since the trade. I mean, they've been the camaraderie, and the reason I feel it, Josh, is because he gets it. He understands it. The day after they traded for him, he was here. They're at the dinner. They're at the Bulls game. They had the picture in the suite, and he's just spending time understanding that the relationship between you and your number one receiver, or just your receiving core, because Claypool there and Mooney as well, it's vital. And I think he's going to have a huge year. And I think that running game that they with Rojo, I think is a great pickup. Deontay Foreman. I really like what they did on the offensive side of the ball, and I think it's only going to help him. And I told people, watch out for this kid. He's going to shut up a lot of people who don't think he's the guy, because he's been the guy. He just hasn't been consistent and hasn't had weapons, or his weapons just didn't come through. So it's going to be fun. This season's going to be real fun. Hey, buddy, thank you, man. I appreciate it. We'll talk soon. All right, buddy? All
right, man. Take care.
Thanks,
Have a good
Josh.
rest of Monday.
Likewise. Guys, that's Josh Friedman from GN Sports talking baseball and little Bears. We got some Bears out of him. Oh, my man. I love it. I love it. Good stuff. Man, we got to take a quick break. And on the other side of the break, we're going to welcome my man, Shawn Davis. All right. He's from the Lucky Lefty podcast, talking little NBA playoffs. So don't go anywhere, folks. Keep it locked right here. Shawn and Maya in the morning on Sports Zone Chicago. Hey, it's your boy, the SuperBack, Shawn Sierra, and be sure to follow Sports Zone Chicago on all social media platforms, on Facebook, Instagram, and our Roku channel. You can find us at Sports Zone Chicago, and on Twitter, we are at Sports Zone Shy. Also, be sure to download our mobile app so you can take Sports Zone Chicago with you on the go.
Time out. How are you feeling right now? Happy? Excited? Angry? Overwhelmed? One of the best things you can do for your mind health is to name what you're feeling. It can sharpen your awareness and help you talk about your feelings with someone you trust. Here are 3 questions to ask yourself. Where are your thoughts right now? In the past, the present, the future? Do you notice any sensations in your body? Is your heart beating fast? Is there a flutter in your stomach? Or are you fully relaxed? What do you need right now? Time with others? Time to yourself? Remember, there's power in this awareness. So find ways to identify what you're feeling today.
At a time when the news seems as subjective as the partisan politics dividing this country, independent professional journalism has become a resource people need to get the honest and accurate information for their lives. That's why I created JCoyneReports.com. As a born and raised Chicagoan, I know this city better than anyone. So my investigative stories are all original, and they'll go deeper to expose the truth by using information obtained from public information databases and in-depth interviews with the movers and shakers. My feature stories will introduce you to people and businesses who are changing the world, not just Chicago. My missing person stories will spotlight those who you don't hear about in the mainstream media, who are often overlooked. If you want to hear my personal views on things around the world, check out my blog site, which is based off of factual information and my life experiences. There's also past episodes of my weekly sports podcast show, What's Up Cuz, that I host with my real-life cousin, Lance Irvin. So if you're looking for all this information and more, check out JCoyneReports.com and follow me on Twitter at JCoyne.
Every day we take steps to keep the people we love safe, but some health risks are easy to miss. Ticks hiding in the yard can spread germs, like the ones that cause Lyme disease. Mice searching for food can spread bacteria that makes us sick. Mosquitoes lay eggs in standing water and can spread West Nile virus and more. Cockroaches are drawn to water in the home, leaving behind allergens that can trigger asthma attacks. Common pests can threaten our health. Learn how to protect your family at pestworld.org.
Robinson here, sheds White into Horford. Dropping the switch. Robinson gets it to Adebayo, facing the defense. And what a slam! In the other way, he's got 8 rebounds. Brown the fake, he'll blast his way into the paint. On top, White triple, crooked. In for Love to begin the second half. A 3 by Brown, a rebound, fought for, grappling inside. Smart! Got it, hit the net, count it, and the foul.
Welcome back to Shawn and Maya in the morning on Sports Zone Chicago. Those clips courtesy of TNT. Big game yesterday down in the 305. Woo-wee. That's Miami for those people who don't know the area codes. Obviously, you don't have pros in different area codes if you didn't know that one, but that's another story. Big win for Miami yesterday, putting them on the brink of advancing to the NBA Finals. Very interesting demeanor by the Celtics. All right. Like I told you, we got two series, both conference finals with 3-0 standings, and it's going to be interesting to see if both teams can close it out. And that would be the first time in the history of the NBA that the conference finals were swept in the Eastern and the Western Conference in the same year. So my man, I had to talk basketball. I was like, let me holler at my guy, man. He's formerly at ESPN Chicago, AM 1000, and now he's with the Lucky Lefty podcast and Irish Recruiting. You can find him on Twitter at SD2Mikes. Man, let's welcome back our guy, Shawn Davis. Shawn, what's up, Papa? How are you?
By the time you reach 18, you should know what the 305 is. That should be a rite of passage for all young men, right?
Oh man, it is. So and the thing is, like, Miami is that crazy. So 09 was my first time in Miami. All right. No, I take that back. We had a national championship game down there in January of 07, so we partied down there. But I went down, and my roommate from college got married in 09. And so we was in Grand Cayman Islands. We came back from there to Miami at home. So we had about a 3.5 hour wait. Mm-hmm. Okay. And that was Memorial Day. Okay. So we had a 3.5 hour wait for our next flight. So I told my girl, I was like, let's just go to South Beach. She's like, and she had never been there before. She's like, well, how far? I was like, dude, it's literally like 10 minutes away from the airport. It's not far at all. She's like, I was like, we can go there. We literally can go there, have lunch, chill on the beach for a minute, come back, and still be straight. She's like, okay. So we go down there, man. I would have sworn there was a rap video being filmed there, bro. It was every exotic color car. It was Ferraris, Lamborghinis, you name it. All that stuff was all on Ocean Drive, and it was insane. I'm like, oh, snap, I forgot. It's Memorial Day weekend, and this was Monday, and people were still getting it in on Monday, the last day of Memorial Day weekend. And I was like, wow, this has to be – this is nuts. This is nuts. 305 is a spot, man. It is definitely the spot.
Look, and when you go when you're younger, you really can't appreciate it. Because you have no idea where to go, what to really do, how to enjoy the nightlife, and how to enjoy the beach, or how to book a yacht and go out with your friends. And, so you're just scrambling, right? So you're just walking around Ocean Drive, just looking at the sights. You're 18.
The sights.
Yeah, I'm trying to be PG with you, right?
Yeah, it's nuts, man.
Isn't it amazing that Pat Riley has been able to establish culture in LA and Miami? Yep. Like, if there are two places where distractions would be fully understandable with a professional sporting team, it would be both of those cities. And Pat Riley has found a way to establish culture. It really wasn't him. I guess Dr. Buss was really the one that established the culture in LA, but he really came in as a coach and kind of cemented that. But I'm amazed at what we're seeing from the Miami Heat over the last 5 years. and during this series against the Boston Celtics. I don't know if I'm more amazed by the destruction of the Celtics or what I'm seeing from the Miami Heat.
Well, it should be the destruction of the Celtics, and that's because the Miami Heat are who they've been all year. They've been and they've been who they've been since Jimmy got there. Everybody wasn't on board. People don't realize that Jimmy is a no frills, like, I'm here to win. All right. The distractions are great. The women are nice. The nightlife is nice, but I'm here to win. And I'm here to grind because Jimmy has never been given anything. Jimmy was not a scorer when he came out of college. He was a defensive stopper. And he developed that, and he developed himself into a scorer. He developed himself into a star, and he developed and cemented himself as a superstar. And that's just from work, from grinding. And he demands everything. That's why he had problems. That's why I feel he had problems in Minnesota. All right, they had young cats who didn't want to work as hard as he did. He probably got in their face. He probably, punked them, and they got mad, and they cried and told Coach Tibbs, so they moved him to Philly. And Philly, same thing, more soft. Joel Embiid was soft. Simmons was soft. We still see what Simmons is going through. And he dealt with more sissy soft suckers. And now he goes down to Miami with Pat Riley, Mr. Attitude and physicality himself. Dude, that was a match made in heaven, dude. And I think he needs that lead. Pat Riley needed that leader. In LA, he had Magic. All right, and Magic understood the pitfalls, of LA, but he got everybody on board. It's like, hey, we can party. We party hard, but we're gonna work harder. And here he had Dwayne Wade. I'm talking Pat Riley had Dwayne Wade in Miami, and now he's got Jimmy Buckets. He's got the right leader to deal with the outside, with the 305, as you know, because it can be very, 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 very distracting.
To say the least. But to go to what you're saying, I really tweeted something out after the game last night, and I really felt like, we always hear, do not make emotional decisions. And I'm not here to revisit what transpired after the NBA Finals for the Boston Celtics in concerns with or connection with their former coach. But I will say this. The Boston Celtics went above and beyond, in my opinion, to embarrass and keep Ime Udoka from having another head coaching position in the NBA. And in doing that, they held a press conference to throw him under the bus and to alleviate anyone else in that organization of responsibility for what had transpired. By doing that, they, in their own arrogance, felt like we could just promote anybody. We just played in the finals. We almost beat Golden State. We don't have to go get a credible coach. We can just promote anyone, and we'll get right back there. And now they're eating from the tree and the fruit of the tree that they planted. It is possibly one of the biggest mistakes that you could ever make, to bring in someone with a totally different message than the message that just led you to the NBA Finals, and to think that will work. It just reeks of arrogance. And some might say, you reap what you sow. It was not the fact. We're not talking about the decision they made. It was the arrogance in which they acted in making decisions that led to them ultimately making an emotional decision, in my opinion, instead of taking time and actually getting a coach with some leadership that needed to get them over the hump, right? And that's really what this young group needs, right? Because they don't believe in their coach. I don't think they ever did believe in their coach. I don't think there are a lot of players that spoke out at the time of the incident that felt like what transpired shouldn't have led to Ime Udoka's demise and departure. But that's neither here nor there. It's just this, man, I am flabbergasted watching the Boston Celtics, the way they lost yesterday. I was just like, yo, this is a professional team. You have a first team all NBA,
NBA.
And a second team all NBA, and this is the way you go out
in a game you have to win because if you go down 3-0, no team has ever come back. So it's a must win, no ifs, ands, or buts. And you have to have your superstar, not star, your superstars perform. And they didn't do it. That's why, dude. That's why I've never been, and I'm no disrespect to him, but I don't see Jason Tatum as a superstar. I see him as a star. And after his 51-point Game 7 performance, people are like, "Oh, he's a superstar. He's a superstar." I'm like, no. I said I used the analogy earlier. So you remember the song, "Ain't no thing is a halfway crook." You know what I'm saying? Like, ain't no thing is a halfway superstar. Either you are a superstar or you're not. And I don't think he's a superstar. I think he's a star. And with everything that's on the line, you can't just not show up. You can't shoot 1 for 7 from beyond the arc. So if you shoot what happened when when Mike and Kobe were shooting horrible from the field? They go down the block. All right, let me get to the line. Let me do this. Let me do that. He doesn't do that, and that's the thing that bothers that one of the reasons why it's basketball IQ. Yeah. Well, I'll just keep shooting. No, you can't keep shooting. You got to get back in rhythm, or let Jason Tatum shoot. Jaylen Brown shoot. All right, or somebody else, let them get going. You facilitate. There's other things you can do, not just score to help your team win. And he doesn't do that. And a lot of these guys don't do that. They think the only way I can be a factor is scoring, and that's not true.
I knew it was over, and I told someone this after Game 1, when the Heat went on that big run in the fourth quarter to eventually win that game, and they asked Coach Mazzulla, "What could you have done during that run?" Every answer he had was about offense. Every single answer.
Mm-hmm.
I think I was talking to my dad. I said, "This is over." He has no clue how to win playoff games.
Playoff is not about offense. Playoff basketball is not about offense.
He's not about to make one single adjustment. He's just going to let his guys go out there and just, man, we're better. Go play. Nah. That's the one thing.
Because on paper they are. On paper they are. But you don't play this game on paper.
And this is what's so painful for Chicago Bulls fans. The Bulls had this team. Had the Heat, and Max Strus went off.
Paytas Park's very own. The Bulls' very own.
The Bulls outplayed the Heat.
The Bulls' very own.
Man. The Heat should have been at home watching the Bulls in the playoffs against the Milwaukee Bucks. But, unfortunately, it didn't go that way. And then someone just said, you put it up, look, Eric Spoelstra
is a stud, dude. He's a monster as a coach. But you know what? That's what happens when you work your way up, man. That's what happens because remember, he was a splice guy. All right, I need this tape. I need this tape. I need offensive sets. I need defensive sets. That's where he got his start. Literally cutting tape for Pat Riley. But when you do that, now you're not only you're cutting tape, but you're watching play. You understand. So you played basketball to begin with, but then now you're looking at it from a coaching perspective, and you're looking at just you're putting all offensive sets together or all defensive sets. Now you can start to see a pattern. And he worked his way up. And now, dude, the reason I love this team so much is not just because of their grit, not just because of their diehard attitude, not just because they got undrafted guys who are doing. It's because it's a team. Because and it doesn't matter if you're undrafted or not. What you do as a coach to make you a great coach is you find out what your players do well and what they don't do well, and you ask them, here, you do this well. This is what I want you to do. You didn't ask Rodman to come and score 30 points a game, did you? No, that's not what he did. He rebounded. So you ask your players, you find out what their best attributes are, and he asked them to do that predominantly, and that's what they're doing. And that's why, like I said, they're not going to do anything different. They're going to hustle. They're going to do what each player does well, and say if you beat us, you can stay disciplined in your game, and beat us. But if you can't, we're going to keep doing us, and they keep surprising everybody, and I love it. Love it.
What? Those are the worst football teams to face, right? You know you're more talented than them.
And but they run that same system. There's discipline in that. They don't change. Yep.
And you think you have them, right? They'll get 2 yards on first down, 2 yards on second down. You hold them to a 3rd and 2 or 3rd down, and you're like, good. And they come back out 4th down like, hey, Hey, it's 4th and 2. We're running the ball again. It's like,
the best way to put it was Denzel Washington in Remember the Titans. It goes just like Novocaine, just give it time.
Yep. Just give it.
That's what they do, and I love it so much because I hope Jimmy can get a ring. It's gonna be a tough task against the Joker because that Mother Hubbard is something else.
Man.
My goodness. But either way, any of those guys who gets to, Denver or because they haven't won it yet, but they're going to. I think that's going to be a phenomenal thing because I love Jimmy, dude. I just love his story. I love his attitude. I love his I don't want to, not even arrogance. It's his confidence and belief in himself. Like I've gotten myself to this point by hard work and I'm in the conversation of one of the best players in the NBA. Not the best, but in that conversation of one of the best. And from where he came from, man, that's amazing.
And you have to look at it. He has always been open and honest about the best thing happening for him as a youngster coming into the league is coming into the Tibbs culture and the Bulls culture that they had during that Derrick Rose era with Joakim and Luau and the leadership they had and the accountability.
Yeah.
To say, hey, we're all equals. Like you might be the MVP, but I have the right to tell you that you effed up on that last play.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you have the right to tell me. And that's how we move. And so when he goes down to Miami and you get into that culture, it's a perfect fit. It's a perfect fit. And that's something that I think is about to change if NBA teams are smart. I think because of this Miami and Denver final that we're pretty much on the precipice of, teams are about to look more at their culture, their development, and the patience that's needed to really become a great team in the NBA. Like, unless you win the lottery and you get one of those LeBron James, Carmelo Anthony, lifetime players
Wemby.
that immediately changes the fortunes of your franchise. Unless you get one of those guys, you have to be patient, man. The Bulls should have been more patient with Jimmy Butler. They should have just been more patient. They should have been more patient with the young guys they had. Even when they traded Jimmy, they should have been more patient with Lauri Markkanen. They should have been more patient with Wendell Carter. Like, those guys never had a true point guard.
Yep.
You saddled those young players with Thomas Satoransky as a point guard. That's what you gave them. Thomas Satoransky. And then you're wondering why they're not developing. This is what we're talking about. You just talked about. What is the job of the coach? Find out what you can do and give those young players an opportunity to do that.
Oh man,
you can't develop
Satoransky.
Thomas Satoransky. This is what you give Lauri Markkanen. Okay, he's running pick and roll with Thomas Satoransky. I don't know how he's going to get better from that, right? So immediately he goes to Utah and he's running pick and roll with the point guard there. Well, no, he has before he got traded to Minnesota. Mike Conley Jr. He's running pick and roll with him, who's a pick and roll genius, right? And all of a sudden, you see his stats start going through the window. Why? Because you have to surround people. That's why they're willing to bet on Lonzo. Because Lonzo and what he brought to the table impacted everybody else and the collective of the roster. So are they willing to say, man, it doesn't look good, but we're just going to hold on to the fact that if he comes back, maybe he can do what he was doing before he got injured. And that's a really bad bet, in my opinion, to take. But what else do the Bulls have right now at this point? They don't have anything. But I think we're about to see a shift. Just like we saw a shift when Golden State became the king of the mountain and everybody went to shooting threes. Now we're about to see a shift more towards culture, development, scouting, because you see guys like Bruce Brown. You see guys like all the guys, the undrafted guys with Miami, making plays, putting up 29. Just this is what the NBA has become because you don't get an opportunity to get those guys. Free agency has changed. Free agency is more beneficial to the team that holds the rights of these players now. So the opportunity that a Giannis is going to come in the market, maybe in 2 years, maybe you wait another 2 years for a Giannis to come on the market. Is that what we do as the Bulls? You know, we gave all of our draft picks away to go put the collective together that we have now, and it's not working. You really have to be patient in today's NBA because the business of the NBA and the model of building a team has really evolved and kind of changed. And we'll see where it goes now, because I'm excited that we have a bunch of young teams. We have Sacramento. We have Memphis still on the come. You have Denver that's pretty much in their prime. You have Miami. Boston, I mean, they've been to, the last 5 conference finals?
Yeah.
But they're still 20. You talk about players that are 25, 26 years old, SuperBack. Like,
about to hit their prime. About to hit their prime.
So, yeah.
But here's the thing that teams need to worry, they need to concern themselves with, and I think this can't go overlooked. You need a leader.
Yes.
You can't have all those young guys and fit them in because you could fit the pieces, but you need that leader that this thing revolves around. Because there's no question who revolves around in Miami, Jimmy. All right. There's no question who revolves around in Denver, and that's the Joker. All right. Who does it revolve around in Boston? Is it Tatum? But it's Tatum. But as Tatum that do again, Tatum, part-time part-time superstars. You can't be a part-time. So you all the teams, the Lakers, we know who it revolves around. The Golden State Warriors, we know who it revolves around. So these guys, you can bring in those pieces and the culture and everything, but you need a leader, someone on the player to say, hey, this just a leader, because you know as well as I do that if you have a leader on the team, it goes the way that leader goes. Yeah. And some teams are full of talented players, just no leaders, just like our Bulls. I don't think there's a leader on our Bulls. So,
you don't think Zach's a leader?
Nope.
I was being sarcastic.
I know you were. I
already know how you feel. But look, the Bulls eventually. It's easy to sit here and say Miami won the trade, or
Minnesota,
the Bulls lost the Jimmy trade. It's easy to say that, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I don't think they lost the trade. I just don't think they knew what the hell to do with what they got.
That's a very good point.
So therefore,
they lost everything.
They lost everything, right?
Because you imagine if you had Lowry doing what he's doing now with us.
Yes.
Come on, man.
Yes. You put Lowry, who he is now, with a credible point guard besides Satoransky, and Wendell Carter, who's shooting threes now at a 36% clip, working with marketing, and Zach being Zach. And now you have cap.
It's a whole other animal.
It's a whole other animal. That's a whole other animal. And now you're patient and you're not strapped by the cap, and you have ability to make moves. You have ability to develop players. And I don't think it's one thing to get the ingredients, but if you don't know how to cook, what difference does it make?
That's the truth.
But you gotta have the right cooks.
One more question before I let you go, because we got a guest coming at 11. Will the fan base allow you to be patient? Because that's probably where you get the most pushback, is the fan base. Because maybe the organizations say, hey, this guy needs 2 or 3 years, in his 3rd year, 4th year, he should be good. But the fan base, like, oh no, he did this in college. He's from Europe. He did this. He did that. And we need why? And you know how the fan base gets. You know how the media gets. Can they?
Okay.
Can you hold the fan base off and say, hey, listen, trust us when you haven't had a good track record to this point?
Now that's the key. You haven't had a good track record.
Mm-hmm.
Now that is something that's in the back of the mind of the fan base. But I will point to with Ryan Poles, who comes in with a clean slate. So it's not apples to apples. It's apples to oranges. But he comes in with a clean slate with an organization that is frenzied for a winner, right? Coming off a GM that pretty much lied and did all types of things. So the Bears fan base They're dealing with trust issues as well. And Ryan Poles comes in and says, look, this ain't it. I could just come in and add some guys, do the free agency, and be middle of the pack just to keep you at bay. But that's not the right way to do it. It's going to take us about 3 to 4 years. And at first, the fan base scoffed at it. But now, most fans looking at what he's doing will sit back and say, you know what? I can rock with this because he's being honest. And he's doing exactly what he's telling us he's going to do.
That's foreign to us as Bears fans, as Chicago fans.
And he's coming forward and telling you. He's not hiding in the background.
No.
You're not trying to get him to come do a press conference.
He's doing interviews with a whole bunch of people, a couple people, man.
All over sports radio, letting you know this is the plan. Mm-hmm. This is who we are, and this is who we want to be.
And you know what? If it fails, you'll respect the man, one, because he did it his way.
Absolutely.
And he told you exactly what he was going to do and and adhered to it. Damn you, damn you, damn you, damn you. I'm doing it my way. And that, as fans, you have to respect. You have to respect.
You have to.
So,
and right now, if the Bulls cut cord with DeMar and Zach and say, you know what? We messed up. We messed up the P. Will pick. We didn't do it right. This is where we're going. Give us 2 to 3 years. And we're going to be a playoff team again, a nice young playoff team with a bright future. What else a Bulls fan? The UC sells out anyway every year, regardless. Let's be real. The United Center, the Bulls basketball is the best date night probably in professional sports. Let's keep it real, SuperBack.
Not a lot of people there. Good experience.
You can go to one of the restaurants, one of the bars, chill in the corner if you want to be conspicuous. You know what I'm saying? Look, it is one of the best date nights. One of the best family atmospheres in the NBA, and it sells out. And that's with a good product or a bad product. So, look, the Bulls have no excuses. If they want to pull the plug, the fans will rock with it because the fans come regardless. They really do.
Hey, he's Shawn Davis. Man, you can find him on. Hey, do me a favor. Let everyone know where they can find you and your work online.
Hey, SB2 Mics, Instagram and Twitter. I am at Sports Illustrated Irish Breakdown covering recruiting for the Fighting Irish football team. And I'm about to delve into the Fighting Irish basketball team under Michael Shrewsbury. Then you can find me on YouTube at the Lucky Lefty Podcast YouTube channel, where we talk college football, Notre Dame football, sports, you name it, culture, film. We get into it. I have to have SuperBack on for the Culture Friday to talk about some of these films and movies that reviews. Like, Malik is young. So I challenge him to watch some of the older films, SuperBack, that we're familiar with, and then he gives me homework on some of the newer films.
Okay.
We had a pretty good conversation. So we got to get you on for the Culture Friday.
Bet, man. That'd be dope. That would be dope, man. Hey, buddy, I appreciate it, man. Thanks a lot, as always. You know, me and you could sit here for 3 hours talking every single team. Every single team.
Hey, say hello to Mom, man. I
will.
Appreciate you. All right?
All right, man. Thanks again. Appreciate it. Guys, that's Shawn Davis from Lucky Lefty Podcast. And we're going to take a quick break because on the other side of the break, dude, just thinking about this conversation that we're going to have on the other side of the break has the hair on my arm standing up. We're talking Bears football. OTA start today. Media access tomorrow. Ryan Poles has been on the radio circuit. As Shawn and I had talked about, he's not hiding. He's not once in the preseason, once to train before training camp, and then not against the that's not his MO. He's very transparent. Maybe a little too transparent for me, in my opinion. But you know what? He's not. You know what? What did Deion say? Like, I ain't hard to find. He is definitely not hard to find, and that's refreshing to this fan base. So our girl Beth Mishler Elmore is going to join us, and I am fired up because I cannot wait to have this conversation. Bears football. I smell it. I smell it. It's right around the corner. So keep it locked right here, guys. Shawn and Maya in the morning on Sports Zone Chicago.
Hey, it's your boy, the Superback, Shawn Sierra, and be sure to follow Sports Zone Chicago on all social media platforms, on Facebook, Instagram, and our Roku channel. You can find us at Sports Zone Chicago, and on Twitter, we are at Sports Zone Shy. Also, be sure to download our mobile app so you can take Sports Zone Chicago with you on the go.
Got it done here. Ouch! And we're gonna make sure you lit this time. Ouch! You're not gonna get me this time.
Ow, Manny!
Oops. Let's try an easy one.
Rodgers with some time, pocket collapsing, and he's thrown down. Sacked by Travis Gibson. The gain of 4, it's Montgomery again sifting through into the secondary. Montgomery will keep his legs going to the 45-yard line. And the first down. Out of the Chicago timeout, it's 2nd and 10. Montgomery back to Fields, who throws the intermediate route, then is caught by Equanimeous St. Brown, the former Packer, on the run to the 25-yard line. Gain of 30 for Chicago.
Welcome back to Shawn and Maya in the morning on Sports Zone Chicago. Those clips courtesy of NBC. Sunday Night Football. Those are our Bears, and very similar to that game. Will be opening, or the opener. It'll be our home opener as well for opening weekend against the Packers. I want to bring in our next guest, good friend of the program. I'm excited to talk to her. It's getting me more and more excited by the day. Every time I'm always waiting for another signing. Ryan Poles had talked on the radio that he's gonna look at addressing the edge position. So man, any day I'm waiting for something to come across on my phone. The Bears sign X such and such. The Bears trade for such and such. So I'm waiting. So she covers the Bears for BearReport.com, and you can find her on Twitter at BearDownBeth. Guys, it's welcome back to Shawn and Maya. Beth Mishler Elmore. Beth, good morning. How are you?
Hey, Shawn. Good to see you again. I'm doing well.
Excellent. I see you got the World Cup, the Women's World Cup T-shirt on.
Yeah, rocking the Brandy Chastain today.
So OTA start today. So we're going to get a first look at them. The media will be in there tomorrow, but they're getting a look today. We haven't spoken in a while, so I wanted you to tell me your thoughts of the draft. How did you feel after the draft was said and done? Some of the undrafted free agents or whatever, and that they signed. Give me your take on the overall draft, and what grade would you give it? Obviously, we can't tell by the positions. I mean, how they perform because they haven't performed yet, but just by the addressing of the needed positions.
A- definitely is my grade, and that's largely because DJ Moore. That was, I think, the biggest move the Bears could have made this offseason. Adding a wide receiver I think he's one of the more underrated wideouts in the league. He's generally always open. I just got done watching some tape on him. Separation he creates is pretty damn fantastic. Justin Fields is going to love having him around. I think that just that addition alone was great. And then the draft comes along, and he took an offensive lineman with the first pick, which the Bears don't do enough in round 1. If you ask me, it's a premium position. I like the addition of Darnell Wright. I like that they worked him out pretty vigorously. I think they have a plan. And like you said earlier on, they're sticking to it. They're laying it all out there, what they want to do. And, they can't do it all at once. And so he acknowledged that he needs edge. Ideally, they could have added an edge rusher, but it didn't really fall that way. And they still added some talent in the draft that I really, really like. Rashawn Johnson is a great pick.
Mm-hmm.
Noah Sewell, the linebacker.
Yeah,
they're loaded at linebacker now with their offseason additions. And, the fact that Poles turned Roquan into Tremaine Edmonds, TJ Edwards of a second rounder, and like for $4.5 million more a year, I'll take that any day of the week.
Yeah.
And so if they can just add an edge here, and he's aware of it and saying, like you said, that he's going to do it. I mean, bring me Bryce Huff from the Jets. bring me DeForest Buckner. Bring me, even sign Yannick off the street. I'll take sacks a year.
Yeah, nothing less than 8 in every year of his career.
Every year he's played, every one of his 8 seasons, he's had at least 8 sacks. And, I'll take that kind of production any day of the week. It's going to be instantly better than what we had last year. And I think they did as much as they could to improve the wide receiving core this year. I like the addition of Tyler Scott as well. I think he's going to be a speedster. And if Mooney, if his leg's not up to snuff, if he's not up to snuff, then I think that could be his replacement. So Mooney's going to have to really show what he's made of this year and come out the gate strong. And I think he kind of knows that because the additions they made at the position, he went from being wide receiver 1 to questionably maybe even 3, so he's going to have to really work. And I think he will. I have confidence in Darnell Mooney. So overall, I think there's just a lot to be excited about, despite having the worst record in football last year. I think we have a GM, like you said, who knows what he's doing. He's candid. He's not, making a meme of himself hiding behind a door. Which is, like you said, it's refreshing.
It really is. And yeah, I gave him a B+.
Yeah.
B+, A-, 6 of one, half dozen of another.
Yep.
And that was just because he didn't get the edge. But again, you can't get everything can't be addressed. All right. And we still don't know how these guys are going to perform. And I'm excited about what he did, how he addressed it. The Noah Sewell thing. I'm my thought immediately went to the coordinators. So like Coach Williams, like how crazy, like he has to be doing a happy dance right now. All right. And Luke Getsy as well. Let's keep it 100. He's got to be doing a happy dance as well. He's got so many weapons for Justin. He's got so many running backs. He's beefed up the offensive line. And listen, I say this a million times, but my thought is this. I can see on 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, having this guy, all right, undrafted free agent Gabe Hoyt, a kid out of Pitt, who is a monster. He makes a team, and have him as a tight end. Have him a tight end in motion, kick out a DN, kick out a crackback on a oh my God. And then you have Blasingame up the middle and Roshan Johnson carrying the ball behind him. So you're going in it'd be a 22 personnel because technically he's not a tight end, but he's a lineman. But if he has to be a 23 personnel, and I'm cool with it. You know what? We're going to shove it down your throat on those shortened 2 and 3 yards if necessary, and then throw it out. So I love the fact what the offensive guy has and what the defensive guy coordinators have, because it's going to be so different, hopefully, for us moving forward.
Yeah, I hope so. Right. If it certainly feels different, and I could be projecting because that could be the fan in me that I can't suppress. Right. But I think that it feels different because of the way that Ryan Poles has gone about doing this thing. He's made big trades. He's pretty much not treated draft picks like poker chips the way that Ryan Pace did. He treats them more like, gold bullion. Like, I'm going to treasure these, I'm going to use these, and I really like that. That gives me hope. And quick too, I was thinking while you're talking, one I think could be a sneakily good signing this offseason is Robert Tonyan, the tight end that used to be
Green Bay.
He had a couple of good years, and I think he's recovered pretty nicely from that injury. He played pretty well last year, and Getsy knows how to use him. And so I think he's going to be one that could be an X factor this year in terms of the passing game for Justin Fields. And I'm pretty excited to see what he's going to offer as well, because he's a Bears fan at heart, and Poles seems also he's kind of collecting a pretty cool little bunch of Bears fans that are playing for the team now, and he's talked about that and why he's done that, and I think it's really interesting and really cool, and it's made me more excited as a fan and as an analyst, really, because there's more to cover.
Yeah, and the culture that he's built, and you heard us talking about culture with Shawn. It's amazing. And that's the first thing that has to be laid down and established before a team can be great is the culture. And he's got it. He's got guys, and he's let them know. I think he's got the right head coach. All right, with his HITS principles. That's your culture. All right, hustle, intensity. Whatever was it, tenacity and speed or smarts or whatever it is. But that gives you the outline of what they expect from you. And if you can't adhere to it, okay, thank you for your service. You're gone, literally. Yeah. And you have no choice but to follow that culture, that acronym that people made fun of initially, and now they're starting to see how important it really is as a guideline for players, because you're seeing so many guys. If you you look at all the guys they drafted, these are guys with high motors. These are guys who love football like nothing else. All right, and they're all good character guys. Everyone's talking about Roshan like he's the next pope or something, like how good of a character guy he is. But that's what you want. You want guys who are great football players, but you don't want to have to worry about the issues off the field, because that can be spread a cancer. Because it was, I don't remember if it was him. No, it was I heard Wani say it. He goes, "You're not worried about that guy. You're worried about the guy he influences." It's a cancer, because what if he influences two of your other young stars, and takes them down the wrong path? So they brought in a great bunch of good character guys, and guys who on paper can fill many of the spots that we need. Talk to me about Darnell Wright, though, and how impactful you think he can be and will be this first year.
I think he's going to be probably one of the top 5 offensive rookies in the league. Last year I was touting Jaquan Brisker, and he turned out all right. This year my rookie is going to be the first overall pick. I think Darnell Wright's going to be outstanding. I think he's going to lose a little bit of weight this summer, become even more lean, mean. But I haven't watched enough film on him yet. I've been focusing more on the wide receivers, but from what I've seen, he is a massive man, and you are not going to move him easily. And just alone, I think he's going to shore up that side of the line pretty dang quickly. I like the moves they've made this offseason, adding Nate Davis. I think those are going to help him. It's going to help him having Tevin in there. I think the real question mark, I think Darnell's going to be great. It's just the real question mark is Braxton Jones on the other side. We don't know yet. I have high hopes for him, but he is the question mark of the O-line, as well as the center position. That's kind of key. I'm curious to see how that works out with Whitehair playing there, and then Lucas Patrick's kind of the odd man out. But I think too, with Darnell, those guys will be good mentors for him. They're both been in the league a while, Patrick and Whitehair, and the Bears don't have a lot of veteran leadership in that locker room at that position in that line. So I wouldn't hate them adding another, in addition to Nate Davis. I wouldn't hate them adding someone else yet to come into the room and compete. And I mean, heck, I'd go after Jason Peters. I know he's like 40-41, but he is still playing all right, and he'd be a great depth backup. Not trying to get him in there to start, but I like having those Hall of Famers and veterans in there to help lead the young guys and kind of set that tone. And I think Darnell Wright's going to be a tone setter all by himself too. I think he's just going to go in there and have a little, bit of an attitude, and that chip that Poles love so much, and just move dudes around with very little effort. Shoe fly.
And that's the kind of thing that now you got 3 guys who with a lot of attitude. All right. Nate, nasty Nate Davis is another dude who comes with that reputation of being nasty. And I love it. All right. So now you'll have Darnell Wright, you'll have nasty Nate. And we all saw we had a reel in Tevin Jenkins, like, okay, you can't put him in the 3rd row. Okay. Once you get him out of bounds, you should let him go. But you know what? I'd rather reel a guy in than beg him for more.
Absolutely.
So you got 3 guys on there who literally want to either put you underneath the turf or in the 3rd row. And from speaking from experience of a running back, I loved running behind offensive linemen like that, who had that type of attitude, who felt that their job wasn't done unless they pancaked someone or ran him to the sideline. And that's going to work in a couple of different ways. Well, first, the running game, which Khalil Herbert, Dante Foreman, and Roshan Johnson are going to benefit from. And Justin Fields is going to benefit from too. I don't think there'll be as many design quarterback runs, because I don't think you'll need them. But it's also going to happen. It's also going to happen in play action. It's going to be help in the play action, because if you're thinking run, now you're not. It's a different takeoff than when you're going for the quarterback. And now Justin Fields can sit back there and pick you apart, which we see he can do. Or if it totally breaks down, I think we saw him run a little bit pretty successfully last year. So
yeah,
I think it's really going to help this offense totally. And I'm really looking forward to the offensive line and how Darnell Wright and Nate Davis and their whole are really going to make this team look 21st century-ish. I mean, if I could, for lack of a better term.
Yeah, I can't wait. And, honestly, I was a little worried after, when David Montgomery, we lost him. I was pretty sure we weren't going to retain him. And when you lose somebody that's a leader in the locker room, as well as, just every play, he doesn't stop. He just brings that energy every time. And as a fan, you love it. As a player, you love it. But I'm really not as worried now that we have the combo of Roshan Johnson and Deontay Foreman, as well as, Khalil Herbert. There's some different styles there.
Big time, yeah.
Backs, you can mix it up. And Getsy, he's a pretty decent coordinator. I have a feeling he's going to be more creative this year and not in a Matt Nagy, Santa Slay kind of way. But I think we're going to get some different kinds of runs, some more misdirection and things like that that don't necessarily involve Justin Fields. And I think we're going to see more of Justin Fields in the play action game. He's going to be working more on the short passes, I think, and I think it's going to be pretty dang impressive what we see from Justin. According to what we hear early on in early reports, he's been working a lot on those short passes, and his accuracy has gotten a lot better from what I hear. So I'm looking forward to it.
And guys, we're joined by Beth Mishler Elmore, who covers the Bears for BearReport.com, talking Bears football right here on Shawn and Maya in the morning on Sports Zone Chicago. And that's the thing that Justin has to understand. Like, you have speedsters, all right? And the thing that I was saying before was, like, with these concepts that they're running, these mesh concepts, these rub, whatever you want to call them, you pick a Velus Jones, defender, and good luck catching him. You pick a Darnell Mooney guy, good luck catching him. You pick a Tyler Scott guy, good luck catching him. Okay?
Yeah.
That's what Justin needs to work on. Like, hey, I don't need 20, 30 yards every play. Give it to these guys, let them run 20, 30 yards or make it a house call. And it's still as successful, if not more successful, because it just puts the stress on the defense. And I think if Justin has gotten that and he's matured into being able to take those on a consistent basis, man, the sky's the limit for this kid, because he's going to have the ability to throw to Chase Claypool, to DJ Moore, to Darnell Mooney, and to Tyler Scott at times. And we haven't even talked about the tight ends. Right, Cole Kmet had a phenomenal year last year, and this guy Tunyon I believe he had more touchdowns than or right around the same amount of touchdowns as Cole Kmet. So now you have two tight ends. The amount of weapons that Justin Fields has in a kind of a prove it year for him is awesome, to say the least.
Yeah, and I think it's great that Ryan Poles has pretty much let that be known. Right, we're gonna see what we have in Justin. We're gonna put everything we can into seeing what we got in this guy, because we believe in him. And that is also refreshing. He's not playing games with it. He's talked about how he feels about Justin, and he's backed that up with what he's done. I think, too, we haven't talked about the secondary.
Oh, I was going to get to that next.
I'm excited about that, Shawn.
Yes.
I can't wait. I feel like they're gonna be getting a lot of turnovers and creating a lot of opportunities for Justin themselves. The addition of Tyreek Stevenson in the second round is a good one. And I think that right there pretty much shored up their secondary. But what you were going to talk about them, go ahead.
I was going to ask you about the secondary, because the way that Ryan Poles has done this, it's just awesome. And here's why. You bring in some secondary guys. So you got Tyreek Stevenson. Okay, there's your cornerback. But you also bring in another cornerback, the kid from Michigan. Oh goodness, his name rings.
Terrell.
Smith.
I know who you're talking to. Smith, is it, or South?
No, it might be. I think it might be Smith.
I know what you're talking about. I can't think of his name either. Sorry.
Yeah, and then not only that, but then you bring in Kendall Williamson, right, as a safety. So you get guys. So now you can you get guys in. Tyreek has played in both man and zone, and he's a hitter. He's very physical, which goes along with Jaquan Brisker, which goes along with even Jalen Johnson had been. But in addition to that, if Jalen Johnson can't get signed, okay, or ask for too much money, now you have people to step in and take these roles next year. So you're not having to find someone next year if you don't sign Jalen Johnson. You get a guy who's in a system, and he'll get time, he'll get reps. All right. So if he's elevated to the starter next year, well, guess what? He has experience. He's in the same system. We all know how people do. They make a big jump from year one to year two. So he's really looking at this, in my opinion, from 10,000 feet above, and talking the big picture, and not just for this year. And I think that is really refreshing for us fans.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. His candor, his honesty, and I like Eberflus too. He's not the best speaker, but he's also not Matt Nagy, and he's not creating a word salad garble mess every time he goes to the microphone full of excuses and things you don't really understand. Like you said, he's got the hits principle. It's there. It's lined out for you. He's already made a point to, even though he's a defensive-minded guy, he's created, from what I understand, a really good relationship with Justin Fields, made that a priority because he understands the importance of that relationship. So he's doing all the right things as well. I like the guys they have in charge there. And for once, because Ryan Poles has been more conservative, they have money. And like you said, I'm waiting I keep checking my phone. I keep waiting because I'm waiting for the next signing. Are they going to get Frank Clark? Maybe. Are they going to get Yannick off the street? I hope. But I think something's going to happen soon. A, because he talked about it, and B, because that's the one last piece that they need for the puzzle is the edge rusher. And then I think they can start just kind of improving those positions as they go through the draft and free agency. But he's also doing something which a lot of Bears leadership people in charge haven't done in a while, and he's building through the draft, which I like that a lot. I think, keep drafting good offensive linemen who want to beat the hell out of people. And I think we're going to have a really, really great team in 5 years.
And doing that, it just keeps it fresh. It keeps competition. And I think that's the most important thing. And this is when we were talking, it was Terrell Smith. This is the guy.
There we go. Thank you.
But yeah, everything he's done. And I like I mentioned DC Williams is like, he's got so many toys now. Like and I said earlier, even if you don't get your stud 3 tech or your edge, get enough guys, quality young guys who can make a difference, who could be an improvement, which is not very difficult after last year. We stripped it down to the bare bones, but get some guys who will help improve that pass rush, because the secondary is better. Okay. And then next year, with Carolina's first pick, with our first pick, we'll be able to go after, if there's a stud edge or 3 tech that you want, you can go get him next year. And I wouldn't be surprised if he takes a page out of the Texans book and trades our other number 1 pick to get up closer and get maybe a wide receiver, depending if Darnell Mooney's gone and Jackson and Marvin Harrison Jr. is there.
Yes.
Or you get the tech and the 3 tech and the edge. I mean, now you're cooking with gas. So what? The options are endless for this, and I'm really, really excited. Again, I love what he's doing. Talk to me though about this linebacking core and Noah Sewell, the jackhammer. How important that's going to be for this team.
Oh, it's going to be huge. And I think it's going to make life a lot easier on every other position group when they got somebody there that's going to be able to rush the passer, somebody there that's going to be able to pick up a tight end. Like they've got Mike, they've got Will, they've got Sam, they've got all covered now. This time last year, we weren't sure who the hell was playing where. Now we've got, it might take these guys a little bit to get used to the system, but that's, I think, the only concern I have with the linebacking core, and it's minor in terms of like Edmonds and Edwards getting used to the system. But I think that TJ Edwards in particular is going to be playing with a fire. They got him for what I think is one of the league's better contracts. I think it's like $8 million a year or something like that, if that. That's outstanding. And then I think Tremaine Edmonds is he's going to wreck the run game. He's going to be in the backfield a lot, and he's also got speed from side to side that we haven't seen in a while. And I think he's going to instantly, we got gashed so many times last year. I can't tell you, you were there. It's just kind of like the running game. This isn't the defense that I need to see from my beloved Chicago Bears. This is a team that's known for, and I think he's going to bring some of that, Monsters of the Midway-esque type stuff back, and Edmonds, and Edwards as well. I think he's going to be just playing with a fire. He's back in his hometown, and he's just seemed, in particular, one of the more like stoked free agents to be in Chicago. And so I think we're going to see that kind of energy and excitement on the field as well. And it's pretty exciting when Jack Sanborn goes from questionably the best linebacker to maybe the third or maybe even the fourth. Maybe Noah Sewell is, and like you said, that's getting. Maybe Tremaine Edmonds maybe one of these guys gets hurt. Now they have a young guy that can step in, learn the system, and then, Sewell was projected 2nd round pick before he got hurt a little bit ago. So he's got a lot of skills and a lot of traits, and Poles seems to be going for athletic guys, and that's what this linebacking crew is. They're athletic, they're younger. Roquan Smith was excellent, but if you're going to get rid of Roquan Smith, this is the way to shore up the linebacking core when you do it.
It really shows he knows what he's doing. And guys, we're joined by Beth Mishler Elmore, who covers the Bears for BearReport.com, talking Bears football right here on Shawn and Maya in the morning on Sports Zone Chicago. I had a conversation when I saw the Sewell guy, and I was watching him, and I'm like, okay, yeah, he's not very fast, but he's always around the ball.
Yeah.
He's not very fast, but okay, that hurt. Okay. All right. He's the kind of guy, he's the kind of guy that as a ball carrier, you don't cut back twice. Right? You cut back against the grain once, and that's it, because he's coming. And he'll ear hole you. And if you've ever been ear holed, you know that's not a very nice thing to have happen to you on a football field, to get ear holed. And he's got, again, that motor, the RAS score, the relative athletic score for all these guys it's a minimum. It's 8. No one has less than an 8 out of 10 on all the draft picks. So you're getting athletic guys, you're getting guys with motors, you're getting guys with good character. I mean, the way he did it is really, really awesome. And I was having a conversation with Nomad, who's in the chat. And I thought, you know what, if you get a NASCAR package, all right, and you get some, I could see Sewell coming off the edge, because he has come off the edge. So now you get guys, or he could be a pass rush specialist with some twists and some stunts, and there's a lot you can do with him. And maybe even line him up as a defensive end and use him as in stunts. Maybe the 1 tech and the 3 tech, a slant one way, he comes back up the middle behind the nose guard. There's so many different things, and that's why I was so excited for Coach Williams. Like, you have a guy, you got people. You saw in the rookie camp, he had a deflected pass, which resulted in a turnover, interception, I should say. Like, this guy has a nose for the ball. Even though he doesn't have that straight line speed, he's got good enough football speed, and he just has a nose for the ball. And that's why this defense is going to be much better. Not putting him in the 85 Bears or 2006 Bears defense yet. No way. But they're going to be much better. And that's going to cause shorter fields. It's going to cause more turnovers, which is going to be more easier for Justin in the offense. It's literally just hand in hand. And I'm telling you, I can't even put into words how excited I am. The way that this team is coming is turning out. It's really, really exciting as a fan and as someone who covers them.
Absolutely. I agree. And what you were talking about, Noah Sewell, like being a little slow. I mean, that's what they were saying about Jack Sanborn last year. He's a little slow, but his instincts, the game he doesn't play slow. He reacts very quickly. And so I think, he's just got a lot of young talent in there. And I think these guys are coachable. Like you said, he's creating a culture. And I loved his explanation as to why he didn't take Jalen Carter. He didn't crap on the young man. He didn't insult his character. He just pretty much said, I don't know that our locker room is in a place where it needs to be for that. And we really value character here. And, it was a great explanation for it. And he doesn't shy away from the hard questions. He's about as honest as I can remember. And like you said, maybe to a fault a little bit, but it's got me so excited because I'm excited for the future for the first time in a very long time. There, like you said, there's options next year in the draft. Yeah. We're not used to having that as Bears fans. We're used to being like, we don't even have a pick until 53,
We traded in this first round pick that we traded away that guy. And, we
traded everything for Mitch Trubisky because he loves his grandma's car.
We're going to be like the Bulls. We got no first round, no draft picks in the draft this year.
Yeah.
Or all our seconds are gone the next 3 years. That's great. But no, and this guy, and this is what's really awesome about it. So I'm looking forward to it. And what about the running backs? Let's talk just a little bit about them. Who do you see probably starting off? Who do you see? Do you see Roschon being a RB1? Because he's kind of probably the most complete running back of all because of his pass blocking, his pass pro ability. But then you got Deontay Foreman, who once Christian McCaffrey left, man, he went ham down in Carolina. So you got guys. And then you talk about Rojo. If it wasn't for some guy named Bijan something or other who went high in the draft, he would have probably been a 1,500-yard back. How do you see this thing playing out?
I think Roschon Johnson will be RB1 by the end of the season. I think it's going to kind of be like how it was when Khalil Herbert sort of took over a little bit when David Montgomery got hurt and just sort of showed just so much that you have to kind of roll with him moving forward. I think Khalil's going to start out as RB1 and kind of lose that to Deontay. And by the end of the year, I think it's going to be Deontay Foreman and Roschon Johnson leading the way. I love Khalil Herbert. I think he's great, but I think these two are, like you said, more complete backs.
Okay. Yeah. I like Khalil Herbert. I think he's a perfect fit for the zone block, outside zone feet. And I remember last year, like I said he was a better zone runner than David Montgomery. Montgomery's more of a power runner downhill. Yes. And they use him, properly for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
But these guys, and I'm looking forward to the 3-headed attack because and I think it could be a good year for Deontay Foreman because I mean he's not part of our long-term plans, but it could be a good year for him to have another year of decent numbers. And teams will understand he's not going to get 1,000 yards because of the splitting it, but he can go on somewhere else. And I would love, Khalil Herbert and Roshan Johnson next year. That's a nice 1-2 punch, and then draft another one. Man, that'll keep this running game really, really, really effective.
Yeah.
Beth, awesome stuff as always. I appreciate your time. Do me a favor before you go. Let everybody know where they can find you and your work online.
Yeah, so you can find me at Bear Report. My work is always there, either bearreport.com or at Bear Report on Twitter. And I also cover the Chicago Bulls if you want to talk a different kind of Chicago fan misery.
Nice.
.com, and that's heavy on Bulls. That's what I'm at.
Oh my God! So what are you thinking now with? I know you heard me and Shawn talking right before you came on. What about this?
I'm shocked you don't think Zach LaVine is a great leader.
Where do you think this Bulls team is going? I mean, you got no draft picks this year. You gave away your seconds for this year for 24, 24, and 25. You got no second round picks.
And
you still owe one to San Antonio for the DeMar.
I think they are watching the Heat, being like, "We almost beat these guys. I think we almost got something." Yeah, I think we're in for another 40 and 42 or 500, maybe. Let's compete for the play-in season.
Oh, great! Just so we need
blow it up. Unless they make those changes they need to make, because it ain't it.
Oh, definitely. Now we'll have to have you on for some Bulls coverage too.
Hey, anytime.
That's awesome. Beth, thank you again so much. Appreciate it. You have a good day and a great week.
Hey, good to see you, Shawn. Take care. Thanks a lot.
All righty. Guys, that's Beth, Mr. Elmore, who covers the Bears for BearReport.com. And then she also covers the Bulls. That's awesome for heavy.com, heavy on Bulls. Dude, she's writing. She's a writing fool, man. She's awesome. Awesome. I love it. Let's take a quick break. And on the other side of the break, we'll wrap this thing up with a nice, pretty little bow. All right. So don't go anywhere, folks. Keep it locked right here. Shawn and Maya in the morning on Sports Zone Chicago.
Hey, it's your boy, the SuperBack, Shawn Sierra, and be sure to follow Sports Zone Chicago on all social media platforms, on Facebook, Instagram, and our Roku channel. You can find us at Sports Zone Chicago, and on Twitter, we are at Sports Zone Shy. Also, be sure to download our mobile app so you can take Sports Zone Chicago with you on the go.
Yeah, hello. I'm really not sure if this is what you all do, but I really don't have anywhere else to turn.
Hi. I don't even know why I'm calling right now. I'm sorry. My thoughts are going a mile a minute.
My kids are out of state. My buddies from the Army are all gone now. I'm really alone.
I left the service last year. My mom just passed away a few months ago. I miss so much time with her. I keep getting calls about the bills, and I'm trying to get a job, but I feel so stuck.
Okay, ma'am. I'm glad you called.
Okay, sir. Let's stay on the line and walk through some things.
Thanks.
Okay.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
We are looking for a few heroes, mentors, trailblazers, innovators. A passion to change lives, spark curiosity, open hearts, and awaken minds. Help students answer the question, who am I? This could be your calling, but this is no job. It's the journey of a lifetime. Be a hero. Be a teacher.
Every day we take steps to keep the people we love safe, but some health risks are easy to miss. Ticks hiding in the yard can spread germs, like the ones that cause Lyme disease. Mice searching for food can spread bacteria that makes us sick. Mosquitoes lay eggs in standing water and can spread West Nile virus and more. Cockroaches are drawn to water in the home, leaving behind allergens that can trigger asthma attacks. Common pests can threaten our health. Learn how to protect your family at pestworld.org.
Mental health and learning disorders don't discriminate. 17 million children and adolescents in the United States live with disorders like anxiety, depression, ADHD, and dyslexia. Less than half get the help they need to thrive. Help the Child Mind Institute change these children's lives. Visit childmind.org.
Evans. Here's Birch. Goes up with the left hand and lays it in. Here's Copper cupping it up and off. The follow is good.
Finished 11th in the preseason poll, and he said, we are going to play really hard. We are going to be disruptive. They've looked pretty good so far.
Holly. The way James Wade talks about it is competitive.
The way they play in Chicago.
Paul certainly knows that players can really develop overseas because of his own experience coaching there.
Oh, nice hustle play there, Elizabeth Williams.
Welcome back to Shawn and Maya in the morning on Sports Zone Chicago. Those clips courtesy of ESPN. Those are our Chicago Sky. The girls doing it well. To borrow a phrase from my man LL Cool J. Big win yesterday for the girls, beating the Phoenix Mercury, and it was, what was the score? 75-69. It was Brittany Griner's first game back in Phoenix as she started the season on the road. It was good to have her back, but it's good to see our Chicago Sky, a completely revamped Chicago Sky team. All right, with a win yesterday, taking them to 2-0 on the season. We just got done with Beth Mishler-Elmore, who covers the Bears for BearReport.com. Man, it was any Bears conversation for all intents and purposes gets me excited. I just, for obvious reasons. Okay. Now, I saw this article, and my buddy Junior sent me an article. It was written out by NBC, on NBC Sports, and it was talking about Dan Graziano from the Four Letter Network, who says the Bears might not have might not have quite improved the roster around Justin Fields. Here's where I get meatballish, but it's not even meatballish. It's bothersome because you get people who don't know football. Okay? You're getting people who don't know football. So to write an article like that about not improving the roster around Justin Fields is insanity. Now, I'm not putting everybody in the Pro Bowl or first team all NFL. No, I'm not doing that at all. What I'm saying is that the roster from last year is improved. The offensive weapons around Justin Fields have improved. So for him to write something like that, and see, this is a national guy. So sometimes you can't listen to national guys. You have to be able to take what national guys say with a grain of salt, because they don't watch your team night in, night out, day in, day out. And it's annoying more than anything. Okay, people do it just for clicks. Okay, you always have contrarians, and I get it; it's part of their gig. But it also opens them up to criticism and critique. Like, listen, dude, how can you say that when you added a right guard? Drafted your first round pick was a right tackle. You traded for a right guard. You had a starting left guard who's nasty. Okay, your starting left tackle played every single snap last year as a rookie. Now full off season in strength conditioning and a better understanding of the system. So now you have another guy, and the only question mark will be center. Then you add DJ Moore in the trade. All right. You had Chase Claypool last year. You had Tyler Scott this year. You had Roshan Johnson this year. You signed Deontay Foreman. You re-signed Equanimous St. Brown and Pettis. And how can you sit there and say that the roster is not better? You added Tunyon, another pass catching tight end. So how can you sit there and say that the Bears haven't improved the roster for Justin Fields? How can you say that? How can you legitimately say that? Right? It just goes to show that if people don't follow your team, you must take what they say with a grain of salt. You must. You have to. Okay? Because I think the Bears, and I think you know by now, I think the Bears did a great job. I gave them a B+. Okay? Beth gave them an A-. All right? Just about the same. Now, the cool thing that I forgot to mention, like, the Bears are number 1 in the waiver wire. All right. I was listening to Larry Mayer this morning. He works for ChicagoBears.com. He's a writer. You know, he's a team writer. So everything's always positive and everything with him. But he also reminded me something. There's only one cut down day this year. Remember, you used to go to like 75, and then from 75 you go down to 53. Now it's just one. For everybody having camp, it goes right to 53. So there are going to be a lot of tough decisions, a lot of capable, productive youngsters and or veterans that are going to be cut. And I know in the bottom of my heart that Ryan Poles is waiting for that day to make a move, because you will have plenty to choose from. So yes, you might not get a Pro Bowler, but you're going to get somebody who is productive. We talked about Ngakoue, Yannick from Indianapolis. If he comes here and he gives us his 8 sacks, that's 80% of the sacks that our entire defensive line got last year. 80%. One guy. Because in his entire career, he hasn't had less than 8 sacks a season. Okay. Huff, another one. There are going to be, and he's not getting cut. But what I'm saying is there are going to be a lot of people out there. This is why I'm waiting, or I really shouldn't be waiting for a trade. Because I feel Ryan Poles is doing something like, okay, why trade our draft capital when we can just wait for people to get cut? I think he's more than happy with the defensive line. Walker, Billings, okay, and then the draft, then Javon Dexter, Zach Pickens. I think he's happy with the defensive line. Oh goodness, I forgot who the other nose guard was that they drafted. Or they signed, not drafted. They signed. You still got Travis Bell. So you got a lot of young guys here. And if you have to wait for your stud 3 tech, fine. Maybe Javon Dexter is your stud 3 tech. We don't know. He wasn't asked to be a penetrator at Florida. He was asked to mirror his offensive lineman. Okay, no problem. Let's see what he can do. Zach Pickens. Zach with 2C Pickens. Okay. He had different coaches the majority of his career. How can you expect someone to develop if you have a different coach every year? How? All right. College is such a key time, and to have it in flux, not good. So Bears are in a good spot. Ryan Poles has shown he is patient. He'll wait. Okay, we'll wait. And I like that about him. All right, you've seen that he is not going to jump and spend a whole lot of money because he has a whole lot of money to spend. He's gonna spend wisely, best value. Look at the linebacking core. For what, $4 million more instead of signing Roquan for $100 million, he got 2 starting linebackers for $104. Beautiful, brilliant. So it's going to be a good OTA is going to be a good time for Bears fans this year. Great time for Bears fans this year. So I don't know. I can't get enough. I can't stop talking about it. The defense, like those youngsters on a defensive line, like who wants to eat? Like Javon Dexter, once he gets it, all right, his explosion that he has coming on, how well is that going to translate for him? Zach Pickens, all right, how bad does he want it? He seems like he wants to be great, really, really bad. He seems like that is one of the goals he has, to be great. And you can't put that is a mentality. You can't buy that. You can't coach that. That comes from here. All right. Your heart. That comes from there. All right. Your desire to be great comes from within. And you see that that's why they're getting those type of guys who love the game, guys who want to be coached, guys who have a motor. It's easy to coach those guys into being winners. So now how much fun is the defensive coordinator going to have? Dude, he should be up nights just dreaming shit. Oh, I got this done. I got that done. I got this twist. I could bring this guy in. Let's not forget Terrell Lewis, the kid, the defensive end, number 1 first-round pick a couple of years ago for the Rams out of Alabama. They signed him in the offseason. Remember, I said a whole couple of NASCAR package. You get 4 lighter, faster pass rushers can cause a problem. This first look at the teams tomorrow. Okay, with media access. And then the preseason. And I think Bears camp is going to be really, really packed this year. It was kind of crowded last year, but it's going to be really, really packed this year. I just think the people, the vibe is different. The moves in the offseason are different. The feel, the aura, the energy is different. It's like we're on the cusp of doing something great. And I feel it. I think you Bear fans feel it as well. And that's the cool part about it. As we're all seeing the same thing. Not just football guys, but everybody's seeing the same thing. We're seeing the way that this thing is, the potential. We see the moves. We see the construction of this roster and how it's being built for long-term success, not short-term. It's not a hit it, quit it, let the next man get it. They're going to be here for a while. And what'll be really weird or fun is when they finally get all that stuff together with Arlington, they get the new stadium built, and watching the Bears play at their new stadium in Arlington Heights. That will be amazing. When we have a good team, we have a stud franchise quarterback, stud receivers, stud running backs, killer defense. To quote our buddy, the late, great Hall of Fame coach, John Madden, broadcaster, the NFL is just better when the Bears are good. It's just better. I couldn't agree more. The Charter franchise, the Monsters of the Midway, killer defense, and now we're going to have a killer offense as well. Our first franchise quarterback since Cutler. Yeah. It's going to be really, really, really fun. Really, really, really fun. Ay. Okay. Just checking something out. Man, 3 hours is come and gone. Can you believe it? I want to thank my guests for coming on today. Josh Friedman from GN Sports. Great stuff. I appreciate it. Talking baseball with us and a little football. No, I'm basketball. Sorry. My guy Shawn Davis for talking NBA with me and a little football because he works for the Lucky Lefty podcast for Notre Dame, Sports Illustrated. And then we just got done with Beth Mishler-Elmore. She covers the Bears for BearReport.com. Talking Bears, which kind of got me fired the freak up. I want to thank all three of my guests today. You guys made this a phenomenal, phenomenal show, along with you guys. You guys in the chat. Justin Roberson, Brandon Schutz. What's up, Papa? Good to see you joining in late. Great to see it. You know, Cornelius Jr., Nomad, Patty. A whole bunch of other guys in the chat. I appreciate you tuning in, making it a great, great show. So I'll let you know about Wednesday. I have something that I'm trying to get out of on Wednesday morning. If I can't get out of it, then there won't be a show on Wednesday. So I'm trying to do everything I can to get it moved to tomorrow or Thursday. But if not, then I won't see you till Friday. So I'll let you know. I'll put a video out on my Facebook page. So make sure you follow me on Facebook. Okay. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I'll put a little post on there saying, hey, listen, the show's on tomorrow. I was able to move my appointment to another day because I really want to talk to you on Wednesday. Really looking forward to Wednesday. And Friday, we got a good show coming up, man. Got a buddy of mine. His name's Rico Mangram. Little local celebrity here. We're going to talk a little sports. You know, get him thinking. You know, I want to hear his thoughts on the Bulls, on the Cubs, Sox, on the Bears. All right, I'm gonna start reaching out to a lot more local people here, and getting their thoughts on our Chicago teams, because just for a change of pace. Change of pace. Anyway, listen, keep it locked right here. Second City Sports with Lakina McGee and Sydney Brown are coming up next. All right, you're going to want to listen to them as well from 12 to 2 or 12:15 to 2:15. So you're going to want to listen to them. So for my guy who got all my clips together, produced those, my guy Steve Weekly, for executive producer Elliot Baez, for social media guy Clarence Council, and my co-host in absentia Maya Kai. I'm your boy, the Superback, Shawn Sierra. Thanks for tuning in. And again, I will let you know whether or not the show will be coming on Wednesday. Definitely for Friday, but I'll let you know for Wednesday. All right. So for everybody here at Sports Zone Chicago, we love and appreciate the support. We'll see you probably Wednesday, but definitely Friday. Your boy, the Superback. I am out. Where did that go?